part of my dream. If you praying for salvation, can't be part of my team. Cause when it come to revelations, I'm the mark of the beast. They fear a mind that's gonna think for itself. Fuck, I look like praising a God that ain't sending no help. I ask questions, read books, then go put ass to belt. I've been beating on the Lord, I know these lashes felt. Hey, I spit the truth and I don't say it unless I mean it. Yeah, they call me rats, but they can't say I don't be teaching. I give all my people knowledge, now they understand the meaning. And if I tell you put it down, then nigga, you don't need it. It's time to use your logic and your reason. I say fuck the whole church, like the clergy up for treason. Cause bitch, I wage war against the angels and the demons. Wanna tell you that I love you from my heart while it's beating up. Cause I'm the heart of this shit. No, my heart doesn't skip. What it take to free my people, I give all I can give. I done sacrificed this life as my bark in the chip.
Let me work.
I got that slammer, man. They had me locked down, but it's all right. It's all right.
Let me work. Please. Please let me work.
Load in and we can get going. Yo, how your mom been? I don't even know. Okay. There we go. Pause that. All righty. And we're all set. YouTube, what it do? This is episode 3. 3? 3. This is episode 3 of Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Paul, and Muhammad did not exist. Yeah, so basically, when we look at the evidence for these people, there's nothing. I know that the last 3 is like, hold up, black, I'm with you, but I don't know, but you ain't looked into the evidence, nigga. You know what I'm saying? When you think there's a Jesus because you ain't looked into the evidence for Jesus. You think there's a Paul because you ain't looked into the evidence for Paul. And I know the last one is like, boy, I mean, come on, bro. You in some dangerous waters fucking with that last one. And I'm telling you niggas straight up, he didn't exist either. None of these niggas was real. And so if you think you got evidence for them that you think I haven't seen already, pull it up, bring it up. Yeah. Don't give me the scholarly consensus because I know the not only do I know the scholarly consensus, I had to read their books too. Right? You know, Bart Ehrman, all these other people that y'all love to quote and cite, we got to read their books too, nigga. And when we read they shit, they're using Paul's letters as evidence for the Christian movement in the first century. It wasn't no Paul though. You feel me? And so without they call it textual criticism, where they read the Bible, they read the New Testament in the letters, and they try to date it based on what the text says. But you can't do that because that's using the Bible to prove the Bible. And when we step outside of the Gospels and the Pauline epistles, there's no evidence for a Jesus that holds up, and there's no evidence for a Paul that holds up. And with the Muhammad thing, you know, by default, most people accept Jesus, so they'll never question Muhammad. But I'm like, shit, let's see if he holds up too, and he doesn't. If you pull up the evidence for Muhammad, it's going to give you these vague mentions of a Muhammad, not Muhammad by name, but Muhammad as a title or alias. And we know from our study of Byzantine history, we know that is a title given. And so who the fuck is that? Hold up. Go on me for a minute. I'm almost through. And so yeah, I lost my train of thought. Yeah. And so yeah, when you look into what the people are using as evidence for a Muhammad, it's actually not evidence of the prophet of Islam, but it's evidence of a um praised one. But that is that alias or that title, it predates Islam, and when you look at where it comes from, it's referring to the Messiah to come, or Jesus. The if you look at Syria and where modern day Baghdad is, and you look where like the Persians are and like the buffer states of the Byzantine Roman Empire where these Arab Christians would have been located, they used the title Muhammad to refer to um the Mashiach that hasn't come in Judaism, and they used it to refer to the Messiah Jesus Christ in Christianity. And so when you see that title, you have to understand that written Arabic had no vowels in the 6th, 7th, and early 8th century. And so that title was not a name. It was an alias for different people. And we'll get into it if someone who thinks Muhammad was a real person comes up. I'll get into it a little bit more. But yeah, I found some other things that they're saying is evidence for Muhammad, but it's actually not. And what you'll find is with these references to a Muhammad, they mention a Muhammad, they mention an Arab, but they don't mention them. They don't mention Muslims, the Quran, or Islam, but they mention a Muhammad though. And so people who have not studied the polemics within the people who have not studied Byzantine history or Christianity within like those first 7 to 8 ecumenical councils, they think the Muhammad is Muhammad, but it's not. And we'll get into it. If somebody comes up that thinks Muhammad was a real person. Sir, sure. Well, before I talk to him, how we looking on the tops? Now we've been banned for 3 days, so over on YouTube, y'all gonna have to hit the thumbs up, like the stream, hit the thumbs up. Oh shit, damn, hold on. My bad, that thing died on me. All right. Yeah. So YouTube, make sure y'all hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment on the stream, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And on the TikTok side, you're gonna have to get your heart, me, and your rolls, and you're gonna have to you gotta tap the screen. I ain't been on this bitch, and I've been in the slammer, so tap the screen. Where I'm at, we got to get 873 diamonds within 2 hours so I can keep my spot and not go down. So get your heart, me, get a rose, and if you can, help with the gift gallery, whatever, do the shit. All right. Sure reality. Did you say your name?
Surreality. What's going on, brother? Peace.
Yeah. Are you over 18?
Yes, sir.
You Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Paul, or Muhammad? Gotta pick one though.
Just Jesus. I'm here for educational purposes. Not, I'm here to learn and teach.
Did you say you was a Christian? I ain't hear you.
I wouldn't classify myself as a Christian.
You're just a follower of Jesus.
Yeah, I'm a follower of Scripture.
That's a Christian, brother. By definition. Yeah, so
there's different sects of believers.
Everybody's so creative and different. We know. So, what's your evidence for Jesus outside of personal testimony and outside of the mythology written down in the Bible? What you got?
All right, so I just want to let you know I am using AI to cite it because I didn't feel like going and looking it all up myself.
Just
But
give
it's
me
all
one.
facts that I knew.
Just give me one. Give me one. Oh, you say you're using AI. Oh. Josephus, Tacitus, Pliny, Suetonius. It might give you. No, that's about it. That's what it's gonna give you. It's gonna give you Josephus, Tacitus, Pliny, and Suetonius is pretty much what they're gonna give you, right?
Right. And you're aware of all this stuff, right? This information.
Yeah.
Okay.
My big brother, he does this every day, and they bring it up. I mean every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's your count? Do you want me to give my argument of Cornelius Tacitus, or since you're already aware of the information, do you just want to counter it?
Well, I mean, so there's a lot wrong with the annals, the mention to this Christ figure in annals. And so, first of all, Tacitus was a government official, and he was, great record keeper, didn't get information wrong. And so, if this was a real guy, if this was written by him, he wouldn't have referred to him as the Christ or the Christos. He would have called him his name, because Roman officials would not refer to a person with a name as like Sir. In the year 80, Sir did X. No, they would just call him his name. And so when you see references to a Christ as it pertains to this Jesus figure, if it's like Roman officials or people who wouldn't necessarily refer to people as a title, and they're calling him a title instead of his name, that's the telltale sign for like tampering or interpolation. Because these higher ups wouldn't do that, especially if they're not Christians. They wouldn't refer to these people who they view as mundane as as Christ. They would have just called him Jesus. So that's the first problem with annals. The second problem is, in it actually gets Pontius Pilate's job title wrong. And excuse me, it gets his job title wrong. And the reason why is because it's written later, right? And I get this shit mixed up every fucking time. God damn it. But I wrote it down. Let me make sure I get it mixed up every time. So Pontius Pilate was a prefect and not a procurator. You know what? Let me not say misinformation. Let me go to my shit. I be getting it mixed up. I get Polycarp, Papias, procurator, and prefect mixed up, and that's all right. But I'm gonna go to it, and we're gonna get it figured out. Cause yeah, I've been on the Muhammad train, so I ain't really. All right, hold on. Pontius Pilate. Yeah, I got it right. So yeah, Pontius Pilate was a prefect, not a procurator, right? And so Tacitus would not have got that information wrong, because he identifies the he identifies everyone else who is a prefect or a procurator outside of this reference mentioned in the Pontius Pilate. He gets their job title right. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's calling niggas Christ that he would not have referred to as Christ, and then he's getting the job title wrong of Pontius Pilate. These are the telltale signs of Christian tampering. Also, Christians are known for like forgeries and interpolations, and y'all's got Bart Ehrman actually wrote a book on that. But all throughout the traditions and the history that the church has kept record of is forgeries, interpolations, Christian scribal notes, Christian scribal errors that accidentally get added into the literature that they're preserving. You know, when they copying these other manuscripts down later and later, they tend to add in the notes that's supposed to be off to the side. They tend to add them in. And there's a guy who's the he's an authority on it, and he talks about this a lot. His name is Richard Carrier, and he talks about this in his book on the historicity of Jesus. Like Christians just that's what they do. I'm sorry, interpolations, forgeries, scribble notes and edits that get added in into text on accident. And when we look at this Arnold's reference to Jesus, it's not it wouldn't be native to Tacitus for the reasons I mentioned. He wouldn't have called him the Christ. It gets Pontius Pilate's job title wrong. And actually, no one even knows that this passage exists, if I'm not mistaken, until like the 5th or the 6th century. It's not cited anywhere. It's not quoted anywhere. The latest, even if you go and look up the earliest manuscript that they have of this reference to Jesus, it has the scribal notes on it where they're scratching out the E to make it an I. They got notes off to the side and shit. It's like when you really dig into this reference, there's no way that Tacitus would have wrote that. And yeah, if you go and read Nailed by David Fitzgerald, On the Historicity of Jesus by Richard Carrier, and shout out Christ Before Jesus. They wrote a book called Christ Before Jesus. And everybody, all of these different authors wrote about this, and so it just doesn't make sense that Tacitus would write that, And then and if you just pull it up and actually read it, that's not something we're talking about. The Roman government would not write that this Christ was crucified under Pontius Pilate. Mind you, we don't have anything to corroborate that from Pontius Pilate. The Pilate stone don't even mention Jesus. So it's like this reference, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit. It gets information wrong. Christians are known for forgeries and interpolations. Pontius Pilate don't know he crucified y'all Jesus. Right? So it's like, yeah, and mind you, even if you accept that this is actually authentic to Tacitus, it's written decades later. It's not a first century account. It's not a contemporary account. And if anything, at best, he's just citing what he heard the Christians believe. If that's what if you accept it as authentic after what I just told you, it's still secondhand information. We looking for something that would corroborate miracles, feeding. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. If you still got more, go ahead.
No, I think I don't know. I'm pretty much done with the Tacitus thing.
So
I gave you, yeah. He gets Pontius Pilate's job title wrong when he doesn't get and the reason why he gets it wrong, not him, but the person who wrote this, they got it wrong because Judea actually did have procurators at the time when it was written, but Pontius Pilate was not one.
Right.
They get procurators after Pontius Pilate. You see what I'm saying? And so if a procurator and a prefect,
Pontius Pilate, sorry to cut you off, but that's a good point. In the position that Pontius Pilate held at the time before Tacitus was alive, was then changed to what is now called a procurator. That's what he understood it as when he was alive. That's like if before he was alive, they were called dictators, and then once we were alive, they're now called presidents or something. That's just an example.
Right. What I'm telling you is Pontius Pilate was not a procurator. He was a prefect.
Well, he was that at his
military.
time.
Is a military official.
But that title was
a procurator is a civilian who's in charge of money, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, but that his title, the title that he held,
he was not a procurator though. Tacitus would not have got that information wrong if it's authentic to it. If they're two separate, yeah, that's why I said they're two separate positions.
They're not two separate positions. They're interchangeable terms. The term just was changed later after.
The name wasn't just changed. It is a completely separate position. A prefect is a military leader. A procurator is It's a civilian who's in charge of money and finance. And they got rid of prefect in Judea because of Pontius Pilate, because he couldn't be contained, couldn't be controlled.
So, Augustus.
Who?
Augustus.
Augustus Gloop? I'm just fucking with you.
That's when Pontius Pilate was a prefect. But after
that wasn't funny to you, Augustus Gloop. Come on, man. Tough crowd. Jesus. What you saying though?
I said under Augustus, that's whenever Judea's official term was a prefect, but
listen, even the Bible has Pontius Pilate as a prefect. So
yes, because you got to look at the times that these things was written.
But Pontius Pilate,
and by who?
Pontius Pilate was a prefect
under
at the time
Augustus.
of his reign. He was a prefect. Even your Bible says that, right? So how does the Bible get it right? How does the Bible get it right?
Because the term prefect was then changed under Claudius.
Lock in with me. How does the Bible get it right, but the actual government official gets it wrong? Who's writing according to this Christian tradition? He's writing after the Bible, and he gets the information wrong? No.
He didn't get the information wrong. It was just
in that reference in Annals that's mentioning a Jesus. Pontius Pilate is a procurator in that reference, but he's not a procurator. He's a prefect. He was a prefect at the time of his occupation. Even the Bible corroborate that.
That's correct. At the time of occupation, he was under Augustus, but at the time of Tacitus writing this, he was there was a reform, and there was Claudius who was in control now, and he changed that title from prefect to procurator.
It's two separate positions. It's not the same position with a different name. Those are mutually exclusive, brother.
No, under Augustus, it had a different name. Under Claudius, it had a different name, but they're still the same role. Still the same job.
It's not the same job. I already broke down the difference to you. A prefect was a military leader, and a procurator was a civilian. Not the same thing.
They were the same job. They just had different names under different rules.
No. They literally got rid of the prefects after Pontius Pilate. And that's when they switched to civilians, literally. But again, Pontius, we're just going in circles. Pontius Pilate wasn't a procurator. Tacitus would not have referred to this man as Christ. He would have just called him his name. It don't even make sense for him to call him Christ in that reference. If it's authentic to him, he would have just called him Jesus. Because we're talking about Romans. They wouldn't have used this spooky religious Christian language to refer to this just some random crucified guy.
Well, you can't say Tacitus could have wrote it and then say that he didn't. You know what I mean? It's either he did or he didn't.
So
if we're gonna,
it was an internal critique. So when I'm saying when I'm internal critiquing the motherfucker, I'm trying to get you to think from where because your stance is it's authentic. So when I'm giving you the hypothetical internal critique, it's for you to think through. I don't think it's authentic, but you do. So I would we can keep it external. I don't think he wrote
I was gonna say I'm only saying that because I wouldn't use that specifically as my point of reference. You know what I mean? If my point of reference is already the title thing, you know what I mean? It's
what do you mean?
It's two. Those are.
He doesn't call him. He doesn't call him his name. If he wrote it, he would have called him Jesus. That's just point blank. Roman officials don't go around calling people Christ. No, they call them niggas their name.
So you're saying the inconsistencies is proof that he didn't write it. You're saying the mistakes. I get what you're saying. All right.
There's mistakes.
Now here's my counter argument for the mistakes.
Whoa. There's there's do you hear that music?
Do you think that document was an accurate document from history at all, or do you think everything in the document is falsified and it comes from a Jewish scribe?
No, I think it's authentic. It's definitely about the times. I just think the reference to Jesus is an interpolation.
So you do think it's an authentic document that Tacitus did write itself?
Yeah, but the part about Jesus is interpolated. Like I told you earlier, Christians, if we get into the rest of them, Christians are known for forgeries, bro. They interpolate shit. They make shit up. They make up false histories. They have pseudonyms where they're writing things in the name of people that didn't exist. They forge shit. They forge letters. They interpolate. That's what they do.
Okay.
I'm not gonna put it. I'm not gonna, this is their status quo. I'm not gonna put it past them.
Okay, and how do you feel about the fact that he was writing not about Jesus, but about Christians that say that they that were alive in this time, that were saying they were followers of Christ, not Jesus himself, but the Christians that were saying they were followers and believers of what happened there?
The Christ and the Christians is not exclusive to Jesus, because that title, that epithet predates this story. There's other figures who would have been called Christ. There's people called Christ in the motherfucking Septuagint.
You're saying Christos,
Cyrus the Great. Cyrus the Great was a Christ. The guy during the Babylonian exile who allowed Jews to return. He was referred to as Christ. When they translated this, the Torah in Greek, the high priest and shit was called Christ. So the title Christ, or followers of a Christos, it predates your Jesus. There's actually a great book you should read. It's called Bible Myths and Their Parallels in Other Religions, and it talks about this god Serapis, who his followers were called bishops of Christ. It talks about him offering eternal life and salvation. It talks about because this is a syncretic deity of the Egyptian people and the Greek. It's a Greco-Egyptian syncretic deity, and so they one of the last serapiums that was destroyed, they actually had the Ankh, which is like it's like a symbol of life. They actually had the Ankh on the Serapeum temple that was destroyed. So like we see that other figures, other deities would have been Christos with an E, or Christ in the Septuagint. Other figures would have been used. This is not something that's exclusive to Jesus. So when you see the title Christ or you hear about Christians, it doesn't mean Christianity, because your religion didn't exist in the first century. There's no evidence of your Jesus or your Paul. And so, yeah, when you hear the term Christ, or when you see the Christians or the Christians, this does not mean, oh, my Christianity existed. There's other Christianities, or there's other Christ figures. Your story doesn't come about until the middle of the 2nd century. That's your earliest reference to, because we're trying to find evidence of Jesus that will corroborate the stories in the Bible. The scholars are using Paul's letters. I'm saying ain't no evidence on no Paul. They're using Josephus, Tacitus, and Paul's letters. We've already discussed Tacitus. If we get into Josephus, you're going to see why neither one of those hold up to scrutiny, the James reference or the Testimonium Flavianum. Neither one of those are going to hold up. So we take out Josephus and Tacitus, they're going to say Paul. Ain't no evidence of no Paul either. There's less evidence for him than Jesus. If you're using those forgeries and interpolations as evidence, there ain't shit for no Paul either. So it's like, if you take away Josephus, Tacitus, and Paul's letters, there's literally nothing to corroborate any of this story about this guy. We don't have no inscriptions. We don't have no first century churches. We don't have nothing. We don't have the 12, the myth of persecution with the 12 apostles. That is fiction. We don't have no churches, no inscriptions, no writings. Nothing mentions Jesus or Paul outside of church tradition until the 140s. So, but
For the
what?
listeners, can I read what Tacitus actually wrote?
I know what he wrote, but go ahead, read it.
No, I know you know.
You can read it. Hey, make sure y'all tap the screen. Shut it live. Let me see what I'm at. Yeah. Okay, cool. We damn. Yeah, let me see. Man, I ain't been on this bitch in a couple of days, y'all. Okay, we did the damn. I ain't even see we hit the goal. Man, yeah, look, y'all go on, knock the roses out. Get your roses, get your heart me's. That's a diamond. Handle that. Let me see what we did. Man, tap the screen too. Over on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You about to read it? You got another device or something? What you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm about to read it.
You can't read it on Teacup though.
I just noticed that. Give me 1 second, Tim.
Yeah.
Put your mouth around it.
Whoa, what the? Yo, that's what are these sounds? Yeah, but I mean, if you, because this it's talking about the it's talking about the it's talking about the fire in Rome, and so it's like the fire in Rome happens in 60 CE, right? And so yeah, this there was no Jesus in 60 CE.
Correct.
So I'm trying to see how would we even. Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know what would make a person think this is authentic to Tacitus when it's nothing. Because if Tacitus wrote this in the second century, he's writing this in the top of the second century about the 60s. We should have something like what else would corroborate it if even if you think it's authentic to him, there's still nothing to corroborate it. Because he's talking about remember, he gets information wrong, and it's not even it doesn't say the person's name. If it's about your Jesus, he would have just said Jesus. Did he not know the nigga name? Why would he call him Christ if he knew his name? So there's a lot wrong with this that paragraph. There's a lot wrong with it. But yeah. You about to read it? What we doing?
All right, yeah, I got you. I was waiting for you. It says, consequently, to get rid of the report, Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations called Christians by the public. Christus, from whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Panatus Polite. And most mischievous superstition, thus checked for the moment, again broke out, and not only in Judea, the first source of evil, but even in Rome. So in that, he talks about someone being crucified and the followers of them being called Christians. He doesn't say Jesus or anything of that nature. He just tells you he corroborates what they said happened in the Bible with an actual document of somebody that was anti-Christian.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. So, I was coming up about the prefect procurator thing, but first
Sorry
off,
about the names, y'all.
And yeah, it's Pontius Pilate. So what you just read. So first off, in that event, Tacitus is writing about the fire in Rome that happened in the 60s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fire, was done by the Christians, not the Christians, the Christians with an E, who are a totally separate group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, first off, You know, in the original manuscripts, it says Christians, and the later Christians erased all the E's and replaced them with I's. Later on, when they were going with this story. Now, first off, if he said, if he wrote about the Christians, it wouldn't make any sense for him to say Christus, which the name has its origin, would it?
Well, he's saying.
We have. Oh,
Go
my
ahead.
bad.
Okay, no,
I
he's
was just saying
saying
we have physical. We have the physical. Well, not the physical. I don't have the physical, but we have copies of the manuscripts that shows the Christians doing that, erasing out the letters and
the
replacing them with
note to the
I's and
side.
crossing out letters and things of this nature.
Mhm.
It's held by the church, so we know they were altering the document.
this document specifically.
Yeah.
How would they have access to be able to forge this document and get it into Roman government officials and to have them accept it all the way until today without ever denying that happened or accepting that happened?
This document was held by the church. It's been held by the church the whole time. I gave you, I think, who's the earliest to mention it? Let me see. Because prime example is I have in my notes that Tertullian, he mentions and quotes Tacitus, but he never mentions this passage, and he's writing I think he's like the 155 to 220. I think that's his lifetime. So he quotes Tacitus, mentions Tacitus, and never mentions this paragraph. Damn, I be forgetting shit. That was a great point. But yeah, like you can find the earliest or the oldest copy that we have of Annals, and literally on it has the like what I was telling you, what Bees would say, where they scratched out the E and made it an I, and they have notes off to the side on the paper. And so, yeah, I just don't think he would have wrote this passage. But it's talking about, like what you wrote, if I'm not mistaken, you read it. It's talking about the fire in Rome and the Christians who were blamed for that. You see what I'm saying?
Do you think a Christian scribe at that time would have talked down on the Christians, because it says that they were a class hated for their abominations? Do you think a Christian scribe would, because that seems counterproductive to his cause at that point?
The Christians. He was talking about the Christians. The Christians. They were a class hated for their abominations of starting the fire in Rome in the 60s. The Christians, again, was a totally separate group of people. Christian means follower of the good one. And there's an Egyptian cup with the inscription to Crestus the magician on it that dates back to the 1st century BCE. They're a totally separate group of people. Like, have you ever heard of Tertullian, the church father?
I'm unaware.
Tertullian is like he's like the 150s to like the early third, right? That's his lifetime.
Yeah.
That's what I put down.
Yeah, and in the late 2nd century, he wrote something called Apologeticus.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the term apologetics comes from.
Yeah, and he quotes. That's what I told him. He quotes Tacitus.
Oh yeah, you told him about that?
Yeah, I told him he
not only.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying not only does he quote Tacitus, he quotes the specific book that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for Apologeticus was to respond to and defend the religion against heretics and non-believers and stuff.
Yeah.
So if that sentence was in there, all Tertullian would have had to do was refer to that sentence, and it would have been game over. He wouldn't have had to write anything else.
And we talking about
But it
late
wasn't in
second
there.
century.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
180s, bro.
It wasn't in there yet. There was no reference to that sentence until the 5th century.
Which is what I told
You know,
you.
yeah, and I came up earlier.
Was it the fifth? It was the 5th century.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was originally coming up, and I'm
about the prefect procurator thing.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say so I can drop back down because I was originally coming up because when y'all were on the prefect procurator thing, and bro, you surreal, you was bringing up which Caesar you brought up
Augustus. He brought up Augustus.
Was it Augustus? Yeah. You were saying Augustus died in 14. He wasn't the emperor when Pilate was the prefect. So now I'm gonna explain the timeline a little bit to you. So like in 6 CE, right? Roman and Jewish affairs and stuff were on the rocks and stuff. So the Romans had a position that was called client kingship, right? Surreal, you listening?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. And King Herod the Great, he was the client king. He died in 4, and then his son took over from 4 to 6. And during that time, like the relationship was severed. So like the client king was pretty much all the Jews in the area and stuff, they were, Rome still owned all of the land and stuff. But the Romans were allowing them, their quote unquote royalty to govern the Jews only within the Roman Empire. And in 6, it got severed. And so the Romans did away with the client king titleship, and inserted their officials to govern everybody, Jews included. And that's when Quirinius started becoming the governor of Syria. So now around this time, Augustus was the emperor around this time.
Okay.
They had like the prefects, like when Rome first took over, they used prefects. There were military officers who were chosen to maintain order and security throughout the region because under that client kingship thing, it started to get a little chaotic. That's why they wanted to step in and put an end to that stuff, regain order. And then, like Pontius Pilate was, he was the prefect from 26 to 36. And then they removed him from office because he started power tripping. He got too strict and stuff, and he wouldn't listen to anyone. And right after he died, he died in 39, and it was a period of a few years where the position was kind of vacant, like they didn't know what they were going to do and stuff, and then in 44, King Agrippa died in 44 suddenly, and so Claudius reverted Judea back to direct Roman rule because from the years 41 to 44, it was taken under by the Herodian family.
Right.
And he briefly restored it, the client kingship position back to the Jews and stuff. But when Agrippa died in 44, he restored power back to the Romans, like full power, and Claudius decided to insert procurators.
Right.
Yeah, procurators was specifically chosen. Like the first procurator was Fadius. It starts with the F. I think Fadius. Yeah, I think Fadius. So like the specific role of the procurators were to to be in charge of the financial responsibilities and stuff. You know, they were skilled in financial administration, you know, taxation and civil bureaucracy and things of that nature. And Rome needed to integrate Judea's economy into the Roman Empire. You know, so like they also acted as like personal financial agents to the emperor, things that prefects couldn't do because they were strictly military personnel, you know, that was only concerned with those affairs. So though it was a few separate roles, but there were two completely distinct positions. And again, the first procurator was in 44, Fadius. Before that, it was prefects. Pontius Pilate was a prefect. The Pilate song calls him a prefect. The Bible does. You know, the contemporaries who wrote about him referred to him as prefects because they didn't have procurators in the region at that time.
Correct.
So Tacitus all throughout annals and in the historicities, he referred to numerous procurators and prefects like over 70 times, and every single time he got the position correct because he's reporting on historical events.
You said that was Tacitus.
So he wouldn't make that mistake. Yeah, Tacitus, he wouldn't make that mistake of calling Pontius Pilate a procurator, especially when Judea didn't even have the title in the region at the time.
All right, so a counter argument, you're saying that his word is, you know, pretty reliable. He wouldn't make a mistake, but he also wrote about Christians, even though that it was forged to say Christians and then it was changed to Christians. Those were both the same group at the time.
No, they weren't. The Christians were not the same group. They were a different group. I just told you we have an Egyptian cup. You know, if this is my live, I'll put the cup on the screen so you can see. It has the inscription to Crestus the magician. You know, and that's dated back to the 1st century BCE times. Again, it wasn't. It's a different group of people. That's why Tacitus didn't mention anything about from anywhere that the New Testament claims, because none of that stuff had been written yet.
Okay, so that group of people, like there's different Christos, there's different Christ. So the followers of certain Christ during certain times will call themselves Christians or Christians. The Christ that they were writing about.
Is that me or is it fading in and out?
The Christ that they was writing about in their annals is the same Christ that these Christians were not worshiping, but they were the followers of in that time.
And I'm saying no.
There wouldn't have been another Christ for them to be a follower of.
Your Christ didn't exist though. There was no Jesus crucified by Pontius Pilate.
No, that's documented that there was.
But it's documented in an interpolation.
I ain't hear anything you said because I'm
yeah, you're using, because the book 15 of Annals, that chapter, I mean that passage mentioning Jesus is interpolated. And so
what
you can't
say?
use, because he said that he's talking about basically like there was a Christ who was crucified at this time, who was crucified by Pontius Pilate. And I'm saying no, it wasn't.
No, bro, there wasn't a Christ. So look, in the sentence, when it starts off, it says Christus. Do you know Christus, Christ? That's a title, not a name.
Right.
Do you know that, right?
Yeah.
All right. Do you know that there were many other people and mythological deities who were referred to that? Do you know that?
Yes. Now let me stop you there.
So let me just put a period on it. So
okay.
So if Tacitus was reporting an event, and especially if he had access to the Roman governmental archives, he would have wrote down his name and not the title. You know, the title can refer to anyone. Even in the story, you know, they put up his name, and they didn't even put up Christus. They put King of the Jews above his head when they was crucifying him.
According to the story.
And why do you think that is?
And that's another thing. If he was if he was Jewish, he wouldn't have been the he wouldn't have been the Christus, the anointed one. Even in the story, they rejected that. So that shows you that a later Christian wrote that as well.
Wait, so Jews weren't using the terms or anointing their kings? What are you talking about?
No, Jews were still waiting on their Messiah. So they wouldn't have called anyone the Messiah because they were still waiting on the Messiah. So
Okay,
that's
the Messiah.
another piece of evidence that a later Christian wrote that, because he wasn't referred to as Christ.
Well, yeah, the Jews are the ones that got Jesus killed. You are aware of that, right?
No, I'm saying that the Jews, according to the story, the Jews rejected him, and they didn't think he was the Messiah at all, so they didn't call him that. So he wouldn't have been called Christ by anyone, even in the story.
By
So
his
that
followers.
shows. No, he didn't have any followers. Like, he didn't exist, first off, but he didn't have any followers.
It's written that he had followers. It's written that the guy that they wrote about that got crucified by Polite had followers. If you don't want to believe that's Jesus, whoever that guy that they wrote about, it's written that.
Where's that written? You still talking about Tacitus?
Yes, I'm still talking.
No,
about
no, it's not that sentence. Tacitus didn't write that, bro. Tacitus didn't write that.
You do know that, like what I told you earlier, and every other prefect and procurator he mentions, he gets the information right, except for this one. This is the only time where he gets the person's information and job title wrong. Mind you, like what B.A.S.H told you, the Pilot Stone calls him a prefect. Even your Bible that's written, because your Gospels are not first century either. And so these Gospels are written post Marcion in the middle of the 2nd century, and they get the information right. They call him a prefect as well. And at that time, we're no prefect in Judea. So even your late Gospels calls him a prefect. All of a sudden, this passage gets the information wrong.
So you're saying the passage isn't reliable?
Yes, because it's interpolated.
Not his complete. Just that
not his
passage.
Complete works. No.
Okay.
Not his complete works, but this. Remember what I told you earlier. Christians are known for forgeries, interpolation, pseudepigrapha, and pseudonyms.
Well,
they're known
how
for
do you feel about
translation? They're known for making shit up, bro.
Wait, why would it benefit anyone to make that up?
Because they're trying to backdate your Jesus into history by any means necessary. Because
they're creating a fake Messiah to like.
Yes.
Why would the Jews do that? The Jews aren't Christians.
The Jews didn't create your Jesus.
You're saying the Christians did that.
Your Jesus, the Jews didn't create your Jesus. They're still waiting on their Mashiach.
Right. So you're saying the Christians did this.
This is a religion created by highly educated, well-versed writers and scholars or people of Greek mythology. It reads like a Greek myth.
Oh, Greek mythology?
Yes. It reads like a Greek myth.
Why would a pagan scribe create a whole new religion that like basically proves their original religion wrong? Like goes against it.
What?
Like Christianity like goes against Greek mythology. Why would they create an opposing religion?
Christianity is Greek mythology, brother.
The scripture goes against paganism. That's what I'm saying. Like they say, don't worship idol gods and don't worship other gods. Why would the same?
We getting off track. Okay, so we're looking for extra biblical evidence of Jesus. You brought up Tacitus. We're gonna scratch that off for right now. Do you have anything?
No, that's all I got, brother.
That's it?
That's all I got to present right now. I'm not, super educated in the matter. That's the only one that I was aware of at the top of my brain. I would have to go and do way more research into what the Romans had going on at the time. I know the Romans were conquerors and they weren't going to give pride to the Jews or anybody that they were conquering at the time to like give them honor in their writings. I know that.
Right. So, but that's it. But that's exactly it. If you look at what happened after the Bar Kokhba revolt, they crushed the Jews. Why would they then turn around and start worshiping the Jews? Because they didn't turn around and start worshiping the Jews. They created this religion. It wouldn't make. Why would you start worshiping this guy after you've already defeated the whole movement? You've already crushed the movement. Why would you then turn around and start practicing a SECT that comes out of Judaism? That don't make sense. And I'm telling you, because this is propaganda, Roman propaganda created in the middle of the 2nd century.
It's Roman propaganda, but how would that benefit the Romans?
Give unto Caesar what is Caesar. Slaves, obey your master. If I smack the shit out you, turn the other cheek. What that sound like to you?
So you're saying they turned Christians into slaves and they use this as indoctrination?
No, I'm saying this is pacifistic literature to keep motherfuckers docile. That's what it's useful for. That's what it was created to do. This is not a spiritual, miraculous thing. No, just propaganda, just literary devices used and created to control people. That's it.
So you're saying the scholars in power took Tacitus's writings and added their own.
Yeah, they did it to Josephus's writings.
I can see why you would, believe that.
This is what they do, though.
Unbelievable. No, it doesn't.
Brother, you have whole letters. You have whole letters that are anonymous, that are pseudo-anonymous, that are written in the names of people that didn't exist, written in the names of people who actually existed but didn't write. They got letters that they're saying Pontius Pilate wrote about him crucifying Jesus. But it's not. He didn't write it. But I'm just giving you evidence that this is what Christians do.
Now, what do you have to say about the Christian religion dating back all the way to 1 AD?
You don't.
Not extra Abrahamic beliefs or nothing like that. Not Jewish beliefs. I'm talking about Christianity specifically, the followers of the person that supposedly got crucified.
There is no person that got crucified. Your Jesus did exist in the 1st century, is what I'm telling you. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. What you have the story gets created middle of the 2nd century. All these church fathers come out, because if you notice, if you look at the church fathers, they're all converts. They're not born Christians. They're like middle-aged converts because there was no Christianity for them to be born into. The first church father that's born into the religion is Origen in like the 200s. Nobody, if I'm not mistaken, nobody earlier than them is actually born a Christian. They're converting to it.
Well, why would someone convert to Christianity if they were being persecuted and turned into slaves?
So what's happening is y'all think that these Jews were being persecuted.
Jews and Christians alike.
But Jews and Christians are not the same thing.
That's a fact.
Separate groups of people that are not. Christianity does not come out of Judaism.
That's a fact.
Christianity predates the Jewish Roman wars and what was going on with the destruction of the Second Temple. Christianity predates that. The Christians, the Christos, the Christ predates the Jewish Roman wars. So we can't say, oh, Christianity is a movement that comes out of Second Temple Judaism. It predates it.
Not that specific belief.
The religion that you practice today did not exist in the 1st century. That's all I'm saying, brother. It's not even. Yeah.
It was Jews.
Even listen,
and other followers of Emmanuel that.
Okay, just no. The other evidence that they would have given you for Jesus would be Josephus, but the first reference is a forgery, and the second one is talking about somebody else. So outside of Josephus, outside of Tacitus, you have nothing. Well, the scholars are gonna say, well, Paul knew Jesus' brother. That's what Bart Ehrman said. Bart Ehrman said Paul knew Jesus' brother. And where do you think he gets that information from? The fucking Bible. What do we have for Paul? We don't have nothing for no Paul. Josephus don't mention Paul. Tacitus don't mention Paul. Pliny the Elder, Pliny the Younger, motherfucking Philo of Alexandria, Justice of Tiberius, Seneca, Gallio. Nobody mentions Paul. But he's the motherfucker that's spreading the ministry, writing to churches. The churches never wrote back. Mind you, they're saying he wrote 13 letters, and half of them bitches is forgeries. He didn't write them. They're not authentic to him.
At this time, though, they were
You
being
ain't locking in. You ain't heard none I just said. There's no evidence to corroborate a first century Paul or a first century Jesus. Well, the scholars are going to tell you Clement of Rome wrote a letter, but they're not going to tell you that the letter is anonymous. They don't know who wrote that motherfucker, and it cannot date to the 95 CE because there was no Clement of Rome active at that time. Clement of Rome shows up in the Shepherd of Hermas, and the Shepherd of Hermas is dated to the middle of the 2nd century. In the Shepherd of Hermas, Clement was tasked with passing out, he was tasked with passing out some papers or some Bibles or some shit in the Shepherd of Hermas, and that's dated to the middle of the 2nd century. Without that letter, without that anonymous letter that they're saying Clement of Rome wrote, you have nothing. That's when they get into Polycarp, Papias, and Ignatius. But
so how do we get the Gospels?
Because they're responding to Marcion. He created this. If you go and look up the first New Testament canon, is a book written. It's like $40. If you go read that book, his works is called Evangelion, and in his gospel that he wrote, he said that Jesus was sent down from a separate God the Father, to liberate us from Yahweh because Yahweh was cruel. That's what he wrote in Evangelion. And so, basically, these gospels are like a response to him. There are many gospels. There's a lot of things that got written down. There's a lot of things that got written down that did not make the final cut or the canon of what you have today.
The final cut is a collection of gospels that was collected in different regions that are all the same thing. It's like somebody copied it and spread it out to different people and they kept it.
No.
Then what is it then? That's why
I just told you it's propaganda, bro. These gospels, brother. These, first of all, there's just so much information that I'm gonna have to break down to you for you to understand this. You don't even have like your gospels do not exist before Marcion. They're not even named until like 180 when they get the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's not those gospels don't get named until like
they
40, 50 years after that.
They exist. They just weren't compiled into the Bible.
What I'm saying is they did not exist before Evangelion and the Apostolicon published by Marcion. That's all I'm saying.
They existed in scrolls.
No, you would have to show me some evidence for that, and we don't got none.
I mean, we don't got evidence for a lot of things, but there's enough evidence for that. There's more evidence for that than most history. Say that about a lot of things.
If you go and read the scholars who are saying that Christianity began in the 1st century, they're using Paul. They're saying Paul knew Paul knew the brother of Jesus. Paul is writing letters to churches. There must have been a movement in the 1st century. But if we don't have evidence for Paul, you got to throw all that shit they saying out. Because what the fuck are they talking about if ain't no evidence for Paul that will corroborate him in the 1st century? How does Josephus write about Jesus and not Paul? That don't even make sense.
They only wrote about him because of what the Christians were doing. They were irrelevant to their story. Why would they write about him? They're not like giving praise to these people that's spreading Christianity at the time. They're trying to get them out the way.
Brother, what you have to understand is these the Egyptians, the Jews, and just hold up. The Egyptians, the Jews, and the Romans were great record keepers, brother.
Oh yeah.
They recorded everything from the fucking weather to the other mundane figures. They recorded lesser apocalyptic preachers than Jesus other niggas named Jesus. Josephus talks about other people named Jesus that didn't do half the shit y'all Jesus did. How do they get their name in Antiquities of the Jews? And then the only reference to Jesus is a fucking forgery. It don't make sense. So when we talk about, there's a lot of people that, no, we ain't talking about, it's not the argument from silence. These people should have wrote about Jesus because they wrote about everything else. They should have wrote about a Paul because they wrote about everything else. The guy who prosecuted Paul, he has writings. His name is Gallio. He has writings and he don't write about Paul. His brother's name is Seneca. He don't write about Paul. Josephus, who's active at the exact same time, does not write about Paul, but writes about Hercules, nigga. Come on. Fucking Tacitus wrote about Serapis. Like, they wrote about mythological characters. You mean to tell me they wouldn't have wrote about a Paul? No. I'm not buying it. So we should have evidence for these guys, and we don't. And the things that you're going to pull up, they're interpolated in their forgeries, as we just showed you. Because without Tacitus, it's pretty much nail in a coffin. And then they'll bring up Pliny the Younger or Suetonius, but those people are talking about a Christ and Christians. And remember what we told you, that's not exclusive to your God. So we, you know what I'm saying, your God doesn't exist at that time period. You know. There's bishops of Christ,
There were
followers.
no followers.
There's bishops of Christ, followers of Serapis. You know, there's other mystery cults, as they call them. I don't call them that because these things were big as the Beatles back then. There's other mythological creatures who had like salvation, baptism, resurrection, healing, all that shit. None of that shit is exclusive. When it's talking about they sung hymns to Christ as to a God, Romans would not have called this guy Christ. They would have just said his name. And so when we have these vague references to a Christ as a God, to a Christ figure, to Christians, it's not y'all's God. Y'all's God didn't exist. So, yeah. But yeah. You know, pretty much for your sake, Jesus and Paul go together. And so, because whenever we're trying to prove Jesus, the scholars are going to use Paul. Well, we gotta address Paul to even have a conversation. There's only three church fathers that predate Marcion. And it's Polycarp, Papias, and Ignatius. And if I'm not mistaken, we don't have anything from Papias. I get it. I'm gonna get it right. Just bear with me, because I know the people in the chat gonna say something. We don't have anything from Papias. What we do have from Polycarp is a composite letter, fucking forgery, right? And then Ignatius is dated by Eusebius, and Eusebius is from the 4th century. And so everything we know about these three, we gotta fucking scrap it, because it comes from later sources. Everything we know about Papias comes from later church fathers. Everything we know about Polycarp, later church fathers. Ignatius, later church fathers. And so we got to throw the baby and the bathwater out. If we don't have nothing authentic to Polycarp, Papias, or Ignatius, and then Clement of Rome, we throwing that out. And then Tacitus and Josephus, we throwing that out. Pliny and Suetonius talk about a Christ and Christians as a God, a Christ figure as a God, but they don't talk about Jesus. We throw those out. There's nothing to corroborate y'all's story. I'm going to give you an example. According to Eusebius, he said that Mark the Evangelist took Christianity to Egypt in the 1st century. That's what he said, right? Egypt don't know that. Egypt don't got no church, no inscriptions, no gospels, no writings, no nothing. They don't have nothing that would demonstrate Christianity being in Egypt in the 1st century. But that's what the Christians said, though. But what they're saying is church tradition, not actual history. But that was just an example of something that the Christians make up later, and then they redact it back, and it doesn't hold up to scrutiny. And so I'm just telling, oh, he's gone. I'm just telling you all of these things that the scholars are using as evidence, they don't hold up. They can keep on using them. They gonna keep using them. That's fine. But not all scholars think Jesus Christ was a real person. The scholars who do think Jesus Christ was a real person, they're using Josephus, Tacitus, and Paul. And we can literally dispel that misinformation. We can get rid of those three. Well, without those three, what can the scholars use? They don't have shit. Literally, they don't have shit.
They have the religion, the culture.
But the religion comes later than the first. It's the second century, though. It's the same thing.
It's not.
When if somebody comes up and they talk about Muhammad, I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean, because everybody thinks Muhammad was real because they haven't looked into what the scholars are using as evidence for Muhammad. The moment you start to look into the evidence, you're gonna be like, damn, Black Atheist Ranch, that nigga didn't exist either. I know. But nobody's putting this shit together because, well, majority of people think Jesus Christ was real. If you think Jesus Christ is real, you're not going to question Muhammad. I'm questioning Muhammad because I don't think none of these niggas, I get to do what I want. And when I look into the historicity, I'm saying he didn't exist either. And whenever somebody come up and they say Muhammad was real, you should stick around in the comments and just listen, and we'll see. And you can see how they think it's evidence and it's not. And it's the same thing for your Jesus. People don't know this, but the evidence for Muhammad is actually worse than the evidence for Jesus. They don't even know it. But yeah.
Well, Jesus or Muhammad aside, I'm talking the followers of Jesus, the followers of Christ.
Yeah.
It doesn't
That's
have to
just because of colonialism. If you look at today, the Abrahamic religions have dominated because of colonialism and violence. I mean, that's just what it is. After World War II, they created a state, for the people. I ain't gonna say their name. They created a state for them. The Christians started the transatlantic slave trade. The Muslims or the Arabs started the Arab slave trade. I mean, we're talking about generations and generations of them spreading their Abrahamic religions with violence. So that's the only reason why they're so prevalent today. Not because they're true.
They were prevalent then.
They were not.
In 30.
Go and look up no. Go and look up the they call them the Theodosian decrees, or look up the Edict of Thessalonica, where they literally had to go and make pagan stuff. They had to go and make paganism illegal, which is just meaning non-Christian. They had to make everything outside of Christianity illegal, and they had to go and destroy the other temples and stuff so they could force people to practice Christianity. What that is you just brought up on the screen. Hold on, let me go.
When did this happen?
The public service announcement. I need you to change those batteries, young man. It's not a joke.
Yeah, please change the batteries, bro.
Yeah.
That's not even.
That motherfucker been beeping the whole time.
3 out of 5 deaths in house fires were caused because they did not have working smoke alarms. Why don't y'all ever change the batteries? That is a warning. It's beeping for a reason. I don't want you to burn up like God does. Okay, please change the batteries. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, change the batteries, bro. But yeah. So I mean, yeah. But you definitely should just look into the if you send me a message, I'll try to get you some stuff to read, give you some things that you can look at, put your eyes on it, so you can
Yeah, for sure, bro. I'll add you and like this.
Send me a message.
We'll stay in touch.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not just saying this stuff for the sake of trying to be different or some shit. I've literally I done spent so much time looking into this shit, studying this fucking, you know what I'm saying, the history of these people. And when I look into it, bro, a nigga wouldn't dare challenge a nigga. They wouldn't dare bring up Abraham or Moses. They'll let that shit rock. And eventually it's gonna get like that for Jesus, Paul, and Muhammad. But until then, I'm telling you niggas, I'm ahead of the curve. I'm 30 years ahead. Yeah. In 100 years, they're gonna be talking about Jesus. There's a snake in my boot. I can fix that. In 100 fucking years, they're gonna be talking about wasn't no Jesus, wasn't no Paul, wasn't no Muhammad. I'm here now telling you this shit. Give you the game while it's hot, nigga. This shit like a Little Caesars. How old are you? You know you up here? You know you up here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
At 39.
Who you want to talk about? Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Paul, or Muhammad?
Yeah, I see your caption. I just wanted to ask you. So, what is it, or what do you think about the prophetic evidence and all these warnings going on across globally?
What? Prophetic evidence of what? Warnings about what?
Like all these events, like all these prophecies coming to life.
What events, gang?
What is your personal take on that?
What events? Give me one.
Like the war in the Middle East, right?
That's about Bible.
The rumors of wars.
They're arguing over the Bible. If you read the story, Abraham had Ishmael first with Hagar because Sarah couldn't have children, and then God allowed Sarah to have children. Then he had Isaac with Sarah. He had Ishmael first, but he promised everything to Isaac, and so the Arabs are saying that they are descendants of Ishmael.
We know that. Yeah, we know that.
I'm trying to tell you what the WAR is about.
I'm already knowing about that. I'm talking about the evidence.
But you asked me about the war in the Middle East. I'm trying to explain to you what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, I already know that.
So why are you asking me about this?
Why did you ask him what he thinks if you were gonna stop him?
Why did you ask me what I think if you already know the answer? They're fighting over the promised land. Look at where the Gaza Strip and all that shit. Look where it's at. It's in Palestine. Those Palestinians and stuff. They're fighting.
Isn't that evidence?
Don't worry.
That's crazy.
Nigga ain't even listening to me, gang. You asked me a question, I can't even fucking answer it. You ain't try to be up here. You just was up here. I'm gonna drop you down. Damn, nigga. But for the people who wanted to hear, yeah, they're fighting over the promised land because during the Arab conquest, there's an influx of Ishmaelites, as they refer to them. There was an influx of them coming into that promised land where the Jews were at. But they're saying that, like what I said, Ishmael came first. But everything was promised to Isaac. So they're fighting over the promised land because, first of all, after World War II, I don't even want to talk about it because I feel like they're gonna block the shit out of me if I bring it up. But basically, the created state was created after World War II. And so they're basically G-siding people that were already there before they created it. And it's like they think the promised land is theirs, but it's like there's no promised land. You see what I'm saying? There is no promised land. A lot of these people are there because of the conquest and the stuff that was going on, and they're being mistreated and G-sided for no other reason based on where they're born. That don't even make sense. And so all this because all of this obsession with land and stuff like that, that's Bible talk. That's all it is. The religion is false. And the nigga who the story is about didn't exist. So why are we fighting and having problems over made up stories? It's because they believe it. They gave it power. That's all. But it's not about a prophecy. Listen, first of all, it don't have shit to do with us. Right? Because I mean, even if they didn't colonize the fucking world, they was gonna always have problems in that region of the world because of the shit that they put out. The misinformation they put out, it was gonna always be conflict. It's gonna always be WAR, right? the WAR in the Middle East, I mean, it didn't just start. This shit been going on since the Hellenistic period, and prior to that, they've been fighting over that shit, you know. And so yeah, but we are not in the end times. It's not a prophecy for us to come back to God. Absolutely not. None of that don't even make fucking sense. Yeah.
I
But make
don't
sure
like the vague ass. This is a prophecy. This is a curse about us. This is a. Please read the rest of it. Y'all gotta. Even the prophecies, baby, those go in order. They're seals. That's not correct. Please.
Yeah, that's what I try to tell. Like when you had the Hebrew Israelite on your shit, I'm like, have you heard of Josiah's reform? He said no. Do you know what the Levant is? He said no. Then you don't get to talk about you don't know what you're talking about then. Because the book of Deuteronomy is not about black people. It's not about us at all, actually.
Not even, listen, mind you, it's not about anyone. Because show me the civilization who the rest of that shit that they don't read happened to. It didn't.
Yeah. And so, yeah. But yeah, if you think these people existed, feel free to come up, tap the screen, share the live, send the gifts. Where I'm at? Did I hit my little thing? I hit it. I did hit it. So I'm gonna stay with it.
I'm gonna stick beside y'all, but it's giving mediocre over here. It's giving C League. I don't know, but I'm in my bunk. It's okay. I'm gonna stick beside y'all, but
Are you Black? Were you in there on purpose? Were you in the request on purpose? I don't think you was on purpose. But yeah, there was a guy who was in the comments talking about the coins and stuff. Those coins are not evidence of Muhammad. You know, what you'll find is you'll find mentions of a Muhammad, not a Muhammad. Written Arabic didn't have vowels, so when you look it up today, it's gonna say it's gonna tell you it says Muhammad, but it didn't say Muhammad back then. It would have been the Muhammad. The Muhammad is a title or alias, and pre-Islamic Christians used it for Jesus. They misused Song of Songs 5:16. In the Hebrew, it mentions a Muhammad, and those pre-Islamic the Christians that came along, they Saint Ambrose, Origen, it's a few others, but those are the main two I know off the top of my head. They used it to refer to Jesus. The Jews, there's inscriptions that predate the Prophet of Islam. There's Jewish rock inscriptions from like 523 that predate your prophet or predate Muhammad that's mentioned in the Muhammad. It's because it was a title, and the Jews used it to refer to, the blessed one, the praised one, the beloved one, and the Christians used it to refer to Jesus, the Messiah, the anointed one, the Christ. And so, what you'll have to understand, if somebody will get into it, but what you have to understand is that a lot of the tradition about Islam, they're saying it happens in the Hijaz. Hijaz? Yes. They're saying it happens in Mecca and Medina. No, it does not, because we don't have anything to corroborate Mecca and Medina being the center of the Arab world, like trade. There was no major spice or silk trade in Mecca and Medina in the 6th, 7th, or the 8th century. Ain't no references, ain't no mentions of a Mecca or Medina. The historians and the scholars that research Mecca and Medina, they refer to it as a barren place, fucking desert. There wouldn't have been a reason to go that far down south. If you look at Mecca and Medina on a fucking map, it's at the bottom of the Arab world. There wouldn't have been a reason to go down there to a fucking barren place when all of the fucking infrastructure and the money is up north near Baghdad, Iran. the Levant, Middle East, Mesopotamia, Palestine, near the buffer states between Rome and Persia. That's where all this shit was happening at. The tradition comes 400 years, 600 years later, right? Wasn't no Muhammad of tradition. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. There was no Muhammad of Islamic tradition. And when you look it up, I know exactly. Listen, I know what it's going to bring up because I've already looked into every last one of them. The Doctrine of Jacobi, Thomas the Presbyter, the Coptic Bishop Niku, CBOs, the Chronicles of the 640s. It's two other ones I had dug into earlier. They're not talking about Islam. It mentions a Muhammad. It mentions an Arab leader, but it does not mention Muhammad. And the reason why it doesn't mention Muhammad, it doesn't mention Islam, it doesn't mention the Quran is because those things are not contemporary. Now, you do have Arabs who practice Judaism and Christianity. You do have these Christian buffer zones being used inside of the Persian Empire and being used inside of the Byzantine Roman Empire. Those would have been your that would have been where your Arab armies came from. And we know this because if you go through those references I just mentioned, they're not talking about a prophet because Muhammad dies in 632. The Doctrine of Jacobi is talking about an active Arab who's leading the armies in 634. It cannot be Muhammad because he's already dead. Thomas the Presbyter Chronicle, it's talking about an active Muhammad who is leading these Arabs in the late 630s. Muhammad is already dead. It's not talking about him. There's this letter that they're saying mentions Muhammad, mentions Islam, and it's written. They're saying it's written by the Coptic Bishop Niku, if that's how you pronounce his name. It's forged. It's not authentic. The earliest evidence of it is like the 1600s. It's not authentic. It's not authentic to the times because in the 7th century, written Arabic had no vowels. There was no Muhammad by name. There's only a title. I can pull up. Where is that? I'm gonna give you because I know people be like, "Now, boy, you tripping now." I let you have the Jesus and the Paul thing, but the Muhammad thing is crazy. And I'm telling you, it's crazy because you ain't looked into it. They talk about, mind you, everything we have for Muhammad, it comes from his biography, his life, his hadiths, the eyewitnesses, the sayings, the teachings, right? That's where it comes from, right? Well, ain't no eyewitnesses because none of those, they call them the Sahaba, which is like like the sayings of the eyewitnesses and shit. That shit don't date to no 500. Nothing from him or nothing about him is contemporary or close to it. All of the shit is 300 years later. The guy, and I keep telling y'all this, but I'm gonna keep telling you until you understand. They're saying that the biography of Muhammad was written by a guy who dies in 765. His name is Ibn Ashaq. They said he wrote down the biography of Muhammad. Where is Ibn Ashaq? Well, we don't have anything from Ibn Ashaq. We don't have nothing he wrote. They're saying he wrote a biography of Muhammad. We don't have nothing. We only have a copy of the shit he wrote. Did you hear what I just said? The guy who they said wrote the earliest biography of Muhammad, we don't even have a manuscript copy of it. But he dies in 765. Muhammad dies in 632. Okay, fine. Well, they said you got to go to Ibn Hisham because we don't got nothing from Ibn Ashaq. Go to Ibn Hisham. We don't have nothing from Ibn Hisham either. We don't have a copy of his shit either. But what the fuck? Ibn Hisham dies in 833. We don't have none from the first one or the second one. So now we got to go to a dude by the name of Al-Tabari who I think he dies in the 10th century or the 11th century. That's 300 to 400 years later where you finally get something close to a biography of Muhammad. And mind you, this guy is redacting and pulling information he don't like out of Ibn Hisham. And Ibn Hisham, according to them, he's pulling and changing shit he don't like that Ibn Ashaq wrote. So we don't even have an accurate biography of the guy. And it's still 300 years late. Could you imagine if they're saying Jesus Christ existed, he dies in the 30s, and they didn't start writing about this nigga to the 330s? Boy, listen. Okay, well, fine. Well, we got the hadiths and all that shit, right, Bar? No, that shit comes 200, 300, 400 years late, too. Mind you, we don't have anything close to the originals of those either. If you try to pull up those hadiths and try to see, okay, well, they're saying that these were written in the 700s or the 800s, but where do our earliest copies come? Earliest copies is in the 12th century of all of them bitches. You can pull them up by name. Well, they say, well, the Quran, they say the Quran was finished by 661. That's what they say. Go and read the Quran. It only mentions the name Muhammad 4 times. But remember what I told you, written Arabic had no vowels in the 7th century. So it wouldn't have been Muhammad, it would have been Muhammad. And when you go and read those mentions of a Muhammad in the Quran, this is the most vague, most mundane shit ever. You can't even really tie it to the Muhammad of Islam because they're just talking about a messenger. Jesus was a messenger. Mind you, they're saying that now listen to this now. The Quran mentions the Muhammad 4 times and it mentions Ahmad 1 time. They're saying Ahmad is another name for Muhammad. Now, in the first 4, if you go in order, the first 4 references to a Muhammad is just talking about basically because the Arabic word for God is Allah, right? That's the Arabic word for God. And so pre-Islamic Arab Christians would have referred to God as what? All right, as Allah. So boom, you go to the reference to a Muhammad, it's just saying that yeah, Allah has a messenger. Literally, that's all it says. In these manuscripts, remember, there is no contemporary mention of a Quran. It wasn't even called the Quran at first. The Muslims are going to tell you that the Quran is revealed 1 time and is unchanged. That's not true. It wasn't even called that. There's different manuscript. There's different manuscript traditions that have different names that date to different time periods that are not called the Quran. They call it the Quran now, but it wasn't called that back then. Well, you got to go to, wait a minute, Bar. What about the Caliphate? I'm glad you said that. The Caliphate, which is they're calling these people the Islamic conquerors. They meant it. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. Now, the Quran is standardized by 661, right? In Islam, they don't play that shit. They don't play that idolatry shit. They don't play that false images shit. They don't play that playing both sides and having other things from other religions. They don't play none of that, right? That's what they saying in the Quran and shit, right? Why the caliphates, they minted and struck coins with crosses on it all the way up until the later part of the 8th century. The 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, all those caliphates, they got crosses on their coins. If Islam was officially set in stone by 661, there wouldn't have been no reason for that. Now, mind you, lock in now. They say everything about Muhammad happens in Mecca and Medina, right? We have coins being minted with crosses on it from the caliphates in the northern part of the Arab world, in the Levant, near Mesopotamia, Syria, up north. All the coins, all the inscriptions of a Muhammad, all the coins with the M with the cross on it, Syria, Palestine, Mesopotamia, the Levant. We don't get nothing from Mecca and Medina. Nothing. That's crazy. Ain't no writings, ain't no inscriptions, ain't no trade infrastructure, nothing from Mecca and Medina, but you got coins that they're saying Muslims is minting with crosses on it in Syria, near Syria. Well, Black Atheist Rants, what was going on in Syria, Palestine, and the Levant, Mesopotamia in the 600s, 700s, 800s, Black Atheist Rants? I'm glad you fucking asked. You have to go and study those first 8. It's actually the first 8, but there's one they don't count, and I learned why they don't count it. You go and look at the first 7 ecumenical councils and what the fuck was happening within Christianity. Well, you have Christians being persecuted, Christians, Arabs. Let's lock in, and because see, this is the context of those coins and those inscriptions and those mentions of a Muhammad that don't nobody gonna tell you because they don't fucking know what they're talking about. So you ask Black Atheist Rants what was going on within Christendom and the Arab world during that time period. There was an incident. If you look up the greens and the blues, so because everything I'm about to tell you, you can look up for yourself. Look up the greens and the blues and the Hippodrome Stadium, right? So they had the gladiator competition in the Hippodrome Stadium. Now, the greens and the blues were your factions or your rival gangs that would sit on opposite sides of the stadium to watch the competition, right? Okay, boom. Now, this is post Council of Chalcedon, and if you've been over here, you know what the Council of Chalcedon was about. The Council of Chalcedon was when the Byzantine Roman Empire came out with Chalcedonian Diophysitic Christianity, where they said that Jesus Christ was fully man and fully God. And we know, based on the results of that council, Egypt, Syria, Armenia, Asia Minor, they rejected the Council of Chalcedon. So what happened? You now have persecuted schisms within Christianity. They're known in history as the Monophysites. The Monophysites were persecuted by the Byzantine Roman Empire because they did not accept the Council of Chalcedon. This is where you get your your 9 saints of Ethiopia. This is where they go and translate the Ethiopian Bible for those Ethiopians after the Council of Chalcedon. You get the Monophysites in Syria being persecuted, which is where the Arabs at. You get the Monophysites in Egypt being persecuted, which is where the black folks at. You get the Monophysites in Asia Minor being persecuted. Everybody's being persecuted, right? Okay. Now, what happens is there's a guy by the name of, he's a Roman emperor by the name of Anastasius I, and he got rid of the gladiator competitions in the Hippodrome Stadium. All of this makes sense, just lock in. He gets rid of the competitions. That causes a rift between the greens and the blues, which are the rival gangs that watches the gladiator competitions inside the stadium. Remember what I told you about the Council of Chalcedon? The motherfucking greens and the blues are more of your Republican, just for the sake of the conversation. Your blues would be your Republicans. Your greens would be like your Democrats. The blues were more the blues were more in line with like the Council of Chalcedon. They accepted it. And the greens were your Monophysites, but there were Monophysites on both sides. The greens and the blues side, they were more so separated by like their affiliation rather than their Christology. But majority of the blues were in line with Rome, and majority of the greens were Monophysites. So boom, the Byzantine Roman Empire, they canceled the gladiator competitions in the stadium, and they canceled it. And this caused a lot of conflict with these factions. And so if you skip and you modulate to the Emperor Justinian I, he under him, I think two of the leaders of these rival gangs got executed, and it caused a riot. They call it the Nika riots in history. This all makes sense. Now, for the very first time, the greens and the blues banded together to overthrow Rome. That's why if you look up the word Nika in Greek, it means to conquer. So they banded together. Mind you, we have Monophysites and Chalcedonian Christians banding together to overthrow Rome. So boom, what happens? Justinian locked, listen to me what I'm about to, he locked 30,000 people in the Hippodrome Stadium and unalived them all. Bloodbath. And so when he did that, the Monophysites begin to they flee. You know, the ones that do survive, or whatever's left of this massacre, they flee, they leave, they've dispersed within the outer parts of the Byzantine Roman Empire. So boom, you get the Council of 532, where he's trying to now reconcile these because first of all, these weren't just rival factions. These were like gangs. They had like militia and shit behind. They're like a street gang. They had, you know, they little foot soldiers and stuff behind them. Because of the Nika riots, they basically, the Roman Empire got rid of all of that. They unalived everybody. Whatever was left fled persecution. This is where you get the Council of 532, where they're trying to reconcile these Monophysites. And in 543, there's a king by the name of Ibn al-Gabala. And he went and asked them to send somebody to spread Christianity to the Arabs in his kingdom. He was the king of the Ghassanids. If you look up the Ghassanids right now on your phone, it's going to say that the Ghassanids were a buffer Arab Christian state that protected the edge of the Byzantine Roman Empire from the Persians. That's what they are. That's what they were. But he asked them to send somebody to spread Christianity to his people. And when they did that, if you go look it up right now in Syria right now, it's called the Jacobite Church. And it's named after the guy that they sent to spread Christianity to those Arabs. What did I just tell you? Pre-Islamic Arabs in that region. Listen to me now. The pre-Islamic Arabs living in the region where those battles first took place that are mentioned, talking about the Muhammed, where those battles took place, where they're calling them Islam, the Muslims, where these Arab armies erupted, those people practiced Christianity. And I just gave you the history that you can fact check to show you that they were Christians, because Jacob B.A.A.S.H was sent to spread Christianity to them, and they set up what's known as the Jacobite Church. But those Arabs living in the Byzantine Roman Empire, those Arabs living in Syria, those Arabs living in the Levant, Mesopotamia, that region between Persia and Rome, those were Christians. How do we know this? I just gave you the history. If you look up the church, if you look up the Christian Arabs in the Persian part, they practice what's known as Nestorianism. It's a version of Christianity, but it was persecuted in 431 at the Council of Ephesus. Fact check what I just said. What happened at the Council of Ephesus? Your Google or your AI, or whatever you getting your information from, is going to tell you that at the Council of Ephesus, Nestorius was condemned because he could not accept the Theotokos. And so eventually that version of Christianity, it ended up being condemned, but it spread to the Arabs in the Persian Empire. And so they're known as the Lachemids. The Arab Christians that practice Nestorianism were known as the Lachemids, and the Arab Christians that practice monophysitism were known as the Ghassanids. What did I just tell you? Pre-Islamic militaristic Arabs who were being persecuted by Rome practice Christianity. And so when you get those battles that break out that are mentioned in the Doctrine of Jacobi, the Thomas the Presbyter Chronicle, the Bishop Niku, CBOs, when you get these mentions of an Arab or mentions of a Muhammad, it's not talking about Muhammad. No, it would have been either a literal Arab leader of the armies who's actually actively leading these people in the 640s, in the later part of the 630s, because remember, Muhammad dies in 632. There's no reference to a Muhammad in 632. There's nothing. And so what you get is these, what I'm gonna tell you why though, because people, they know about the Arab armies, but they don't know why. In the 630s, Rome was under the rule of a guy by the name of Heraclius I. And so what he did was he forced baptism on all non-Christians. When I say non-Christians, I'm talking about the Council of Chalcedon Christians. He forced baptism on everybody. And then he came out with a doctrine that the Monophysites did not agree with. He came out with what's known as monotheletism. And monotheletism is Jesus Christ has two separate natures, but he has one will. The Monophysites couldn't accept that. And right before he died, he came out with monothelitism and then monotheletism. One of them is one will and one of them is one energy. And so the Monophysites couldn't accept it. And right before those Arab armies started attacking the Byzantine Roman Empire, he came out with what's known as the Ectheist. Ectheis. He came out with the Ectheist, and he stopped paying money to those Arab Christians, the Ghassanids, because remember what I told you. The king in 543, Ibn al-Gabala, he asked them to send somebody to spread Christianity to his people to do business. They started paying them to protect them from Persia because the Roman-Persian wars was going on. And so the Romans did win the Roman-Persian wars, and then they stopped paying these niggas. You just heard what I just said. They defeated the Persians, and then they stopped paying the Ghassanids. So what the Ghassanids do? The Ghassanids got fucking mad. On top of you not paying me my money, you done came out with a Christology. You done came out with a theology that I don't agree with. That's exactly when those motherfucking Arabs erupted and started attacking them. Right at that very moment. So when you get your Muhammad, it's not talking about no fucking Muhammad. When you get your when you get these references to an Arab leader, it's not talking about no Muhammad because that didn't exist yet. You don't get a biography of a Muhammad until fucking 300-400 years later. So how the fuck would come on, man? It don't even line up. The guy who I keep saying this, but y'all don't understand what I'm saying, gang. The dude who records the now, mind you, the guy who records the battles of Muhammad, his name is al-Waqidi. He records the battles of Muhammad 200 years later. Mind you, Muhammad never fought in Syria, Palestine. Right? So when you get the references to an active Muhammad in 634 and 636 in the 640s that's actively fighting the Byzantine Roman Empire in that region on the map, not only is it not contemporary and it's after this dude dies, but it's 1,200 miles away. There's no way they're talking about this guy. There's no way they're talking. Look, open the map and type in Baghdad and then type in the Hijaz, well, Mecca and Medina is 1,200 miles away. So the guy who wrote down the battles of Muhammad, they didn't take place near Baghdad. Prophet Muhammad dies in Medina, not Mecca. I mean, he dies in Medina. He never went up that far north. He never made it. He never went there, never traveled there, didn't have no battles there, nothing. There's no way he's the guy. Mind you, the Arabs in that region on the map are Christians. So when you have these caliphates minting coins with crosses on it all the way up until the later part of the 8th century, that don't make sense to niggas who don't know that they're Christians. There wasn't no Islam yet. So I'm trying to tell you niggas, wasn't no Islam, wasn't no Quran. No. Wasn't no Quran. The Hadiths, the Sirah, the Sahaba, the Tafsir, all that shit is late. And I ain't talking about like a couple. No, late as in 300 years late. Nothing, nobody mentions it. Nobody talks about that shit, gang. So, no, it wasn't no Muhammad. But I got to tell you all this to tell you it wasn't no Muhammad. Because a nigga see, oh, well, the historians say there wasn't this. The historians are going off the Islamic tradition just like the historians are going off the Christian tradition. The Christians are the scholars, the scholarly consensus on Jesus is that he existed because of Paul, who didn't exist. And the scholarly consensus on Muhammad is that he existed because they're going off of these references to a Muhammad, but it ain't Muhammad. It cannot be Muhammad, according to his story. Mind you, they're telling you that this Arab eruption comes out of Mecca and Medina. No, fuck it didn't. Mecca and Medina they're not even mentioned, gang. Listen, lock in. Your mentions of Mecca and Medina come from Islam. Nothing outside of Islamic tradition is going to make you believe Mecca and Medina was a trade hub in the 600s or the 700s. No, absolutely not. By the time Mecca and Medina is finally mentioned in non-Islamic tradition, the motherfucking caliphates is already fighting the Byzantine Roman Empire. They're already fighting these people. Like, lock in. Mind you, anyone who's done any type of scholarship on the Quran, they'll tell you most of it is Jewish and Christian literature. Because, see, people who have not read the Quran, they think the Quran is like how the Gospels is. No, sweetheart, no. The Quran ain't nothing but a bunch of weird-ass rules, weird-ass laws, weird-ass if this, then this type shit. And it mentions Abraham. It mentions, mind you, lock in. Now, they're saying that the Quran mentions Muhammad 4 times, right? Ask me how many times it mentions Jesus 20 times, nigga. But needless to say, there's a lot of literature in Judaism and Christianity inside of the Quran. And the reason for that is because Islam is a derivative of what's known in history as monophysite Christianity. That's all it is. Yep. There's this group who, now Islamic tradition is going to tell you that they are from Mecca and Medina. Why are Arabs from Mecca and Medina referring to themselves as a Syriac term? Syria is up north 1,200 miles away now. Look up what's known in history as the Hanifs. They're saying the tradition is that these Hanifs emerge out of Mecca and Medina. But the word is derived from Syriac. That's too far away. There's no way this movement would have came that far south. Absolutely not. All of the inscriptions, all of the battles, all of the coins, all of the activity happens in that little region between the Byzantine and Persian Empire, and it's because that's where this comes from. It comes from the monophysite Christians. And it gets worse because all you got to do is keep going through those ecumenical councils, and you're gonna see, damn, this is what's the number one thing you cannot do in Islam? You can't make images of the prophet, right? Go to the Catholic encyclopedia, wherever you gotta go to, look up Leo the Third and the iconoclast controversy and what he did. And he said you can't make images of Jesus. This was the argument in Christianity in the 8th, 9th century. They arguing over images of Jesus. And guess who said you can't make images? The monophysites. And guess who said you could make images? The Chalcedonian Diophysitic Christians. So what do you have? You have basically, I just told you, the Arab Christians said no. And the Byzantine Roman Empire, their version of Christianity said yes. And so boom, you get iconoclasm. But that literally goes hand in hand with what's happening with Islam. You go over there and draw an image of that Muhammad dude, you might lose you might lose something. You might lose your head. Yeah. So, but you just have to study you just got to study the history. And without the doctrine of Jacobi, Thomas the Presbyter, Niku, Cebios, the Chronicles of the 640s, without those references,
I'm
talking, brother. Hold up. Without those references to that mind you, they mention a Muhammad, but don't mention Islam or the Quran. Without those, if you take all of that out, you have nothing. Because the biography, all those sayings, and that shit comes 300, 200, 400 years later. So it cannot be. You have battles and inscriptions before you have the biography of the nigga. And these things come after. Mind you, they're writing this stuff long after he's dead, and they still get the information wrong. They say the nigga died. How a nigga died in 632, but he fighting in 636. No. Pull it up. Pull up any of those mentions of a Muhammad and read what the shit's saying. And you're gonna find there's no way it can be this guy. And remember what I told you about location. Every last inscription or mention of a Muhammad comes from fucking where modern day Baghdad is. It's where the Levant is at, Middle East. Mecca and Medina is nowhere near where these inscriptions come from. And the niggas who wrote down the biography and the life of Muhammad, they never went to Mecca or Medina. No, absolutely not. So all this shit just falls apart. How old are you, Penn?
Yo, how's it going, bro?
How old are you?
So first,
how old are you?
How old I am? I am 18 years old.
Cool. Who do you want to talk about?
My English is not very good, so try to understand me. I have only one question.
Yeah.
First, are you a Christian?
No.
What do you believe?
That I'm handsome.
I'm not laughing though.
I
I'm
don't
talking
believe.
with you
I don't believe in anything. Yeah, I don't believe in anything.
You don't believe in anything. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Who created you?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
So you don't want to know?
I don't know. Who? You tell me who created me. Go ahead.
God created you.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. Who you want to talk about? Because I don't want to talk about God. Because every time I talk about
There is
God,
only one God who sends
see
Moses
what I'm
and
saying? Absolutely. Every time I talk about God, people laugh. So I don't want to talk about God. I just want to talk about these dudes. Because I'm a little bit different. I'm gonna tell you straight up, God is a dead white man from Scandinavia and Denmark. If you look up the Great Migration period in Europe, there was an influx of Gothic people coming into the Byzantine Roman Empire because of the I want to say it's a group of people. Basically, they were getting their asses kicked and they ended up occupying regions inside of the Byzantine Roman Empire. And when you look up the Great Migration period, there was an influx of Gothic people coming in. And so they translated the Bible into that Gothic language. And when they did so, they took a word that had a meaning and they changed the definition of the word to convert those Viking people. And the word that they changed, you guessed it, was the word God. It was actually plural and it was a verb, and they changed it to convert them to Christianity. And you can fact check me, look up the Gothic Bible, look up the Great Migration period and what happened. I can even pull up the nigga who did it. I can pull up the nigga who translated the bullshit for them. That's a fact. No. So when you talk about God, you niggas don't know what you're talking about. Wasn't no God before the Gothic Bible. Let me rephrase it. The object of Christianity was not God before the Gothic Bible. Oh shit, my bad. Hold up. And it's fact. Don't talk about God. Because I talk about God differently. I get it over with quick. I ain't none to be niggas be talking about, oh, I'm agnostic. Agnostic about what? What the fuck, nigga? What you agnostic? You're agnostic about a mind in the sky because you've allowed Christians to hijack Greek philosophy. Just say you scared of hell, gang. That's the only thing. Cause ain't no mind in the sky controlling shit. Literally. And the Christian God is not real based on objective facts about reality. It can't be real because it comes out of the Southern Levant is a regional deity named Yahweh that was worshipped by the Shasu people. You look up the earliest inscriptions of Yahweh, you don't get Yahweh mentioned in reference to Israelites until like the 800s BCE. From the 1400s BCE all the way down to the 800s BCE, it's talking about the Shasu people. And then all over nowhere, it's talking about Yahweh being blessed by Yahweh and his Asherah. What you agnostic about Christianity for? Because you don't know history. That's why you agnostic. This shit take 30 seconds, gang. God ain't no God. Gods are white men in the sky. White men and women. Low-key, Thor, Freya, Tyr. Those are your gods. Everything else is something else. And so you agnostic about what? L? Nigga, please. Y'all niggas be agnostic about shit. You can look at, oh, they literally sat up and made this shit up. I'm gonna be agnostic about it. What? What? Fuck no. Fuck no. Hell no. Ain't no reason to be agnostic. But see,
listen, stealing my talking points is crazy.
Ain't no reason. Ain't no reason.
Earlier, you're agnostic because it just dawned on me while I was talking to her. But you're agnostic because you won't look into the like. They'll be like, "Well, I'm not a Christian because I looked into the history. I'm not a Muslim because, okay, now look into the history of God in general and tell me the evidence.
Yeah. All you got to do, people, look up it's called the Great Migration. Look up the Great Migration period in Europe and look at, just type it in. What happened during the Great Migration period with the Gothic people? And I done read the shit in books, but I'm trying to give you the shorthand, little quick version. You can get this shit quick. Take you to 10 seconds. The Great Migration period in Europe. There's an influx of other groups coming in. When other groups come in, you got to get converted somehow, nigga. They can translate the Bible for you. It don't even work. Tell your mom to call me. I'm gonna put something in her life. That's all you gotta do. Just tell her to call me. It don't even work. Try again. How old are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah. Who you want to talk about?
I want to talk about your context. What Abraham didn't exist, Moses didn't exist, Jesus didn't exist. Do you believe that?
None of these people existed. Yeah. What about them?
Yeah, Max. Okay. How do you get this name? They are not exist.
They're fictional characters, literary devices, I would say. You know.
Yeah. When you are mentioned this name, how do you get it?
I don't understand the question. What are you asking me?
I'm asking for you. How did you get it this name?
What
when
name?
You say that, yeah, the name is you are here because they existed. They are not existed.
Are you a Muslim?
No. I'm not. I'm a Christian.
Cool.
Are you a Muslim or a Christian?
I'm a follower of B.A.S.H.
So you know why?
Do you know who B.A.S.H is?
I don't know.
B.A.S.H is the God of salvation and eternal life in my religion. And if I believe in him, he blesses me and gives me eternal life and salvation. So, yeah.
Okay, whatever you believe, no problem. Just I'm trying to explain for what you are going to put on the screen. So when you said that,
go on, get you some halal burgers and shit and call it a night, brother. It's over with. I don't even understand what you're saying, gang.
I'm gonna say you wanna understand what I'm saying?
Get you some goat milk, and don't stand too close to the fireworks. I don't know. Just be careful. Get down.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the topic.
No.
You don't want to talk about?
I was in the military. You giving me PTSD. Yeah. Look, there go B.A.S.H right here, y'all.
So did you just made up the name of your
praise
God?
Praise B.A.S.H. If you want a real God that offers eternal life and salvation with the real land of milk and honey. You can lick the ground. Everything's clean. And you just lick the tongue out, lick the ground. Just lick it out. All praise to the Most High. You too near me not to hear me, man. Yeah. You can't get 72 virgins, but you can get 72 flavors or some bootylicious bubblegum. I got 32 flavors of that bootylicious bubblegum. Woo! All praise to the Most High. What you saying, brother?
I mean, it's a free world. You can create your own religion, so
yeah,
you can't claim anything.
Yeah, and my God don't allow misogyny, rape, pedophilia, discrimination of any kind. LGBTQ are all welcome, and we even allow Dreffel, right? You know, I had to plead with him to let Dreffel in, but he said even though We don't take chitlin shots over here. He said Druffle can come.
I thought you have some receipts for
LGBTQIA
this.
plus. Y'all are welcome. Oosh moosh. You know, he don't have no discriminatory literature that people are gonna use to you know, create legislation to hate on you and shit for what you like. So come on down to the Church of Oosh moosh. Y'all all welcome. You can break dance in the middle of the motherfucking pews if you want to. It's cool.
What does Ushumush mean?
What?
Ushumush, what does it mean?
God of eternal life, salvation.
So when Moses asked God about his name, he said, I am.
Ain't nothing like peace and quiet. Ain't nothing like peace and quiet, man. These niggas, I don't speak that language, gang. But yeah, man, y'all tap the screen. Let's see where we at, man. I need to get my diamonds up. Send your heart me's. Send your gifts. Yeah, I was banana for 3 days, so we got to catch up. So all proceeds go to the Black Atheist Ranch book fund. Yeah, I'm gonna write me a book on Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and how these people didn't exist, and I'm gonna take you through the history of the whole shebang. But you know, it's gonna take me take me some time. That's all. But yeah, I'm gonna start on that bitch eventually. But yeah, yeah, Islam. The evidence for Muhammad is worse than the evidence for Jesus, for real. When you look into it.
What's up, my brother?
How old are you?
I'm 35.
Who do you want to talk about?
So what, you don't believe in Jesus?
Fictional character.
Probably have the Bible and the Torah.
Yeah. According to the Norse pagans, they believe that Odin slayed the giant Ymir and created the universe, the cosmos, and the earth out of the body of the slain giant. That's what they believe. That's what they wrote down. This is what they have images of. This is what they've believed and held on to for generation after generation after generation. Do you believe them?
No, I do not believe them.
Why not? They said it.
Because this is my belief. I believe in Jesus.
Yeah, but they said it though.
Yeah, but I can't prove that.
And they're earlier. Believe it or not, they're earlier than Jesus.
Okay, look, this is fair. This is fair. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
The Gothic people
that I'm wrong?
The Gothic people predate Jesus, and they said that Odin created the universe by slaying a giant. Do you believe them?
But can you prove
said
that
you
I'm
got
wrong?
You said you got the Bible. They have their tradition. Who's right?
Yeah, okay, but look. I don't know if they're right because I can't prove if they're wrong or right.
Mm-hmm.
Can you prove if I'm wrong or right?
Yes, I can.
How?
You start with your God. What is do you know your God's name?
His name's Yahweh.
Where's Yahweh from?
He's from the Bible.
He predates the Bible, the Torah, Judaism, and Israel.
Yeah, he comes from God. Like his
no,
name's God.
You ever heard of the Solub Temple inscription?
I'm not too sure of it.
Yeah, have you ever heard of it?
You're still like getting around.
You wanted me to prove you wrong.
That I'm wrong.
You wanted me to prove you wrong. I'm about to use history.
How does that prove?
I'm about to use history and cultural anthropology to prove you wrong. Have you heard of the Solub Temple?
That doesn't give me absolute truth at all, because you can't give absolute truth with science, because that's what you're using right now.
What the fuck you're talking about? Why do y'all ask questions and then be like, I'm gonna keep talking? Hold on.
Brother, what method are you using to prove me wrong with?
History and cultural and religious anthropology.
And what is that? Where does that come from?
It's the study of ancient civilizations,
Science,
their religions, their gods.
Science, yeah. It all comes from science, yeah. It has to. come from science,
brother. You're literally using science to have this conversation. You're using science to have this conversation, bro. What are you talking about? You need science just as much as I do. You would not be here without it. Please, let's not
Is it
downplay.
like it literally says
Let's
that
not
you can't
downplay
get
science
absolute
for.
truth from it?
Let's not downplay science. Let's not
I just-
downplay science for mythology, gang.
The fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. So people who use science every day downplay science for what? Because they want to believe in Zeus. I tried. He wanted me to disprove him. I was gonna do it. You know, the God of Christianity. Look up what's called. Look up what's called philosophical monotheism. That's what y'all got. That's what y'all are agnostic about. Y'all are agnostic about something they just made up. like I'm giving you the shit to go and look up. They just made it up, bro. It's just made up. Philosophical monotheism is not real. Yahweh is not an abstract concept. Yahweh is a little figurine from the Levant with a period at the end. They got little figurines of Yahweh and El. That's a statue, brother. You're not agnostic because you listen. You can't be agnostic about God because God is what? God is a dead white man in the sky from Scandinavia and Denmark. All right, lock in. So you can't be agnostic about that. Well, you're agnostic about. I'm agnostic about a transcendent, ontological, teleological, omniscient, omnipotent, and that's some shit they made up. So what the fuck you agnostic about, nigga? There's nothing. See, don't the God debate. It's being performed by intellectuals, but they're not using their intellect. Damn, black atheists, you spitting. I know. They're intellectuals, they're scholars, but they're not using their scholarship to debate God. Go watch any God debate. They argue over philosophical monotheism. Philosophical monotheism is going to be argued over to the day you die. Let's argue over the historical aspect. Oh, no. I don't want to argue over history. Why not? If Abraham didn't exist and Moses didn't exist, all of these religions, like, just lock in with me. The scholars will tell you they'll tell you there was no Abraham and then there was no Moses. And then there'll be, but I'm a cultural Christian. If everything about Judaism is based on Moses, if there was no Moses, the entire cultural religion, everything is just made up. No Exodus, no Passover, it's made up. You start looking for evidence of Solomon and David. Wasn't no Solomon, wasn't no David. The very first verse of the fact check me. The very first verse of the New Testament, as it is put together right now, the very first verse is talking about a genealogy tracing Jesus back to David. David who? Nigga, what the fuck are we talking about? Oh, the conversation is over. They want to talk about I don't like philosophy. I don't want to talk about philosophical concepts. I want to talk about give me a date, give me a time, place, people, give me an event. That's what I like. If you notice, I give y'all people, places to look up, events, dates. I ain't finna give you no idea, no concept. No. When I say things like there was no Lucifer before the Latin Vulgate, go fact check me. It's a fact check me. When I tell you Lucifer was a real person, St. Jerome was arguing with his followers, fact check me, nigga. What? You can't be scared of Lucifer. Lucifer's made up. Man, what we talking about, nigga? Facts. Like, nigga, can't, no. Like, just brother, okay, just lock in with me. The Muslims are saying that Muhammad was illiterate and the Quran was revealed to him by the angel Gabriel, who is the same angel that told Mary she was going to birth the Son of God. That's the same angel that told Muhammad he was the last prophet and Jesus Christ was not the Son of God. Then they say Muhammad went up to the seven heavens. They call it the Mihraj. He goes up to the seven heavens, stops on the fifth one, comes down. That's why you gotta pray 5 times a day. This the shit. This the shit these niggas believe. The nigga who compiled the hadiths, they said he spent 16 years, compiled 600,000 hadiths, and then dwindled it down to 7,300. There's no way you believe that. There's just no way. But I'm tripping. Then they tell you that Abraham. Now you they say Muhammad went up to heaven and met Moses, who didn't exist. Then they say Abraham. They say Adam and Eve, when they was kicked out of the garden, they set up the city. They set up the first Kaaba in the city of Mecca. That's what the tradition says. Then they say Abraham came behind Adam and Eve and rebuilt it in Mecca. He took Hagar and Ishmael and rebuilt it. How? If Abraham wasn't real, how did that happen? But that's what they telling y'all. What else they telling them niggas? But they ain't telling me that. But that's bullshit. And it's like, you can't be agnostic about Islam. You can't be agnostic about Christian. Nigga, you can't be agnostic, period. I walk around this bitch. I know God ain't real. I know for a fact God ain't real. Because who is God? What is a God? Oh, you just playing semantics. No, we're playing with history here. It's not just a trend. I'm not talking about like different languages. Like the word has a different like it's spelled different in different languages or it's pronounced different. No. I'm talking about an entire definition of a word being changed by outsiders, by the enemy to convert you. That's colonialism. No, white people got colonized too. They don't even talk about that. White people got colonized too. Y'all niggas so dumb. How you white and you a Christian? And they beat your ass. They have terms for what they did to white people in history. Look up the term Interpretatio Christiana, Interpretatio Romana, and Interpretatio Graeca. They would come and beat you niggas. They come beat your ancestors' ass, repurpose y'all's cultures and y'all's gods under Christianity. Or they romanticize the shit. That's colon. But because everybody's white, y'all niggas don't see it because y'all don't think. And white supremacy is better than no supremacy. They'd rather identify as white with the motherfuckers that colonized their cultures too, than to say, nah, I can't be no Christian. Because my ancestors was from Scandinavia. I can't be no Christian. They'll never say some shit like that. But yeah, them niggas was colonized. Now we can't compare none to what they did to us. That's something different, But y'all's cultures were definitely usurped 100%. You niggas supposed to be polytheistic 100%. You know what I'm saying? So look into your ancestry. Y'all need to learn who y'all is too. But that's another topic. Yeah. When I tell a nigga God is a dead white man from Scandinavia, they laughing like I'm playing. I'm dead. I be saying that shit. I'm dead serious. Straight face. I mean every word of that shit. So, yeah. But even if you look into the because I have them all written down. If you look up, like I know nigga think I'm lying and shit. Look up the hadith. They got them listed by name. They have them listed by name, and you just look up the dating for this shit. All this shit, none of this shit is nowhere near Muhammad. Nowhere near. If he's born in 570 and he dies in 632, we won't have nothing written about this guy 300 years, 400 years. And then the earliest, if he dies in 600, and the earliest manuscript that we have access to today is from the 12th century. What did that tell you? Nigga, that's 500, 600 years, gang. Don't you know the nigga who put the life of Muhammad, because there's a book written by a dude in the 19th century. We're talking about the 1800s. It's called The Life of Muhammad. He didn't use Ibn Ashaq or Ibn Asham or Al-Tabar. He used a 12th century copy of Al-Tabari, if I'm not mistaken. He used a 12th century copy to write his book in the 1800s. He don't know what the fuck they wrote about that nigga for real. Mind you, the Muslims in between Ibn Hisham, Ibn Ashaq, and Alfred Guillaume in the 1800s, they didn't think to put this shit down. They didn't know what the fuck, bro. Man, look. No, don't the tradition of how you thinking I'm tripping, but the history of how you thinking they tripping. Well, who you gonna go with? You gonna go with the history, or you gonna go with the tradition? Because the tradition also says a nigga flew on a winged horse and split the moon. See, but I'm tripping though. Because when I get to talking about that, it's like, oh well, we can't go with that. So you can go, don't go with none of it. All the tradition is, all that shit cap. Every piece of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to give you some shit. You ain't gonna get this. Man, look, gang, it take me, nigga, you know how long it took me to get this shit together? They think this shit I just woke up and said Muhammad wasn't real, nigga. Hell no. I done studied Muhammad 30 years. Not, I'm being facetious, not that. I mean, I am 56 though. But yeah. Yeah. But I know, when you, bro, just like, bro, go and get you a subscription to one of these book services for the low, and put your eyes on some of those scholarly works talking about Jesus was real. Just read what they saying. They going off Paul. Nigga, you gotta have a Paul to go off Paul. Like, bro, they be talking about, well, secular scholars going off Paul too. All them niggas. Well, when is Paul? Well, what are they using? Well, then you got to ask the question. Okay, what are the scholars using to date Paul? They're using Clement of Rome. Look it up. Fact check me, nigga. What evidence do we have of Paul? They're going to say Clement of Rome. When is Clement of Rome dated? It's dated to 95 CE. Who dated the motherfucking letter? Eusebius in the motherfucking 4th. Like, nigga, what are we talking about? Okay, so how do we know Clement of Rome wrote the letter? Well, he don't sound the now it's an anonymous letter. Well, wait a minute, scholars. Why didn't you say that at first? How you using this crazy part? The scholars know the letter anonymous, and they're still using this letter as evidence of Paul. Well, then wait a minute. They're saying, well, even though the letter is anonymous, it still dates to the 1st century. How? You gotta have how. When Clement of Rome is mentioned in the Shepherd of Hermes, and he's tasked with passing out some papers, and that's in the motherfucking 140s, 150s. And we know that from the Mortorian canon lists the Shepherd of Hermes being written during the reign of Pope Pius, and Pope Pius was in the motherfucking middle of the 2nd century. Wasn't no Clement of Rome writing in 95 CE. You got to throw that out. Without that letter, they have nothing for Paul. Without that letter, they have nothing for a 1st century Pauline epistles. because everything else mentioned in Paul is interpolated or is later or it's a redaction or it's from Eusebius or it's from one of these church fathers after the fact. So you got to throw that, but you can't keep saying, well, there was at least a guy. Where, nigga? You got to pull it up. Where is regular Jesus at? Because Jesus, the son of Damius, Jesus ben Ananias, and all these other niggas got listed. Hercules got. All right, I'm tripping. It's the scholarly consensus, boy. And then I got to tell niggas that all of Western academia is based off Christendom. Nigga, these schools is built, these popular schools and shit, Oxford, all that shit, nigga, that shit is built off blood money, Christian blood money, nigga. You niggas thinking education was just wide, nigga, in Europe, before the Reformation, if you were not tied to the mother church, you didn't get educated, bitch. You don't get no education. Go watch my 5-hour live stream where I talk about this shit. There wasn't no Bibles. You niggas, oh, everybody had a Bible. You got to read it for yourself. No, nigga, you didn't. Absolutely not. No. Fuck we talking about, nigga? Education wasn't widespread in Europe. And the public didn't get access to the shit until the Reformation. When motherfuckers started branching off and reading the motherfucking Bible for themselves. Then niggas, that's when niggas started getting properly educated. But that's Christendom, nigga. The secular world is basing history off the Bible because of colonialism too. Fuck boy. So no.
So brother, let me ask you, according to you, there's God or there's no God?
There's no God. How old are you?
There's no God.
How old are you?
I'm age 48.
Cool. You're Christian, Muslim, Hebrew Israelite.
I am a Muslim.
Right. Islam is false. Muhammad didn't exist. Do you have evidence for his existence?
Let I ask you a simple question. You tell us that there's no Abraham, but Abraham no existence. Moses and the Ginsers and them all, they are not existence.
Right.
They are according to even God not existed.
Who?
There's no God. According to you, there's no God.
Right.
So there's no creator.
Right.
Who created you?
I wasn't created.
No, how do you created?
Well, pregnancy takes like 9 months for me to develop. I was developed in my mother's womb, and then she had me. And then her mother had her, and then it kept going and it keeps going. I don't know of any creator in the sky making niggas out of hot breath and mud. Shout out Lord.
So you don't have a creator?
10 months.
You don't have a creator?
No.
You are ignorance.
You are ignorant.
No, you are ignorant.
You don't have a creator either, nigga. Your mama had you too.
Ignorant. Yeah, you just okay. You are ignorant. You are ignorant. It's okay. You are ignorant.
Niggas say he a Muslim. Brother, go on, man. You a whole IED out here. Don't. Shit, my bad. I thought it was 9 months, gang. 14? You was in that bitch powering up. A strong black man in this. Nigga said he ain't coming out till he get reparated. My bad, gang. My bad. Nigga waiting for the right weather to come out there. Oh man, yeah, niggas be IEDs talking about I'm ignorant. Nigga, y'all out here unaliving. You know, it's one thing to unalive somebody. I'd be damn not unalive myself for God, boy. Fuck no. I might smack a nigga in the name of the Lord, but I ain't gonna blow my shit up, man. Hey, I love TikTok Shop. I love TikTok Shop. Everything is good in the hood. Get you a T-shirt or something because I do not want to get bananaed on here again. So, yeah. But y'all send me some gifts. Tap the screen. Yeah, do the shit. Yeah, but yeah, man. Hey, whenever somebody come up for real, and they do the whole like, if somebody that know they shit come up here and try to talk about Muhammad, I'm gonna tell you exactly what they gonna say. They gonna say that they gonna bring up like the Thomas the Presbyter doctrine of Yacobi. They're gonna bring those up, or they're gonna say that the Bible mentions Muhammad. And when they tell you the Bible mentions Muhammad, they're gonna go to Song of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 16. And chapter 5, verse 16 is about the Muhammad. It's not about Muhammad of Islam. It's about an actual title given to a praiseworthy person or a beloved person. And we know this because they have Jewish rock inscriptions with that alias on it, and it's literally the inscription reads, "By the Lord of the Jews, by the Muhammad." That's literally what it says on the rock. Look up the Jewish rock inscription of 523. It literally says, "By the Lord of the Jews, the Muhammad." And this is wasn't no Muhammad till 570, according to them. But you have inscriptions mentioning this title way before him. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? You know when you sitting in your car and in the dark and you open the door and that light come on.
Who is that?
This stupid ass bitch in the comments talking shit. Sir,
You
close the door before your battery dies, bitch. Stop playing.
You look dirty and unloved. You know. A motherless child is what you look like. But over on YouTube, man, appreciate y'all for tapping the screen. Thank y'all for supporting the live and shit. If you new over there, tap in now. Yeah, new subscribers, I see you. Yeah, we almost at 7,000 over there. Type shit, we appreciate y'all over there. TikTok, where we at? Y'all do not be tapping the screen, but it's cool. Excuse me. It's saying I need somebody needs to get a heart me and a rose, because I don't know if it's lying to me or am I being deceived, but it says I need one more diamond to get 2 fragments. So go ahead and get your heart me and your rose if you haven't already, and we be cool. It's it right there. Money on the floor. Yeah.
It still say you need 4 fragments.
Yeah, but it was still not.
But it show you something different.
It's showing me some different shit.
But you still need 4, but you're saying you only need a couple diamonds to get 2 of them.
Yeah.
And then Craziest gave you 1 too. So
he did?
You at least got 1. Yeah, because he's your guardian. He did well.
That's what's up, my boy. I appreciate the gang. Pleasure. Please come home. I got beans and bologna. How old are you?
I'm 19.
Do you know you up here?
Of course.
Yeah, it's gonna refresh in a minute. Pastor, I appreciate you, Pastor Breezy. I miss my backup account because everybody was calling me Pastor. That shit got a little ring to
Buddha
it.
existed?
Huh?
Do you believe that Buddha existed?
Man, fuck the Buddha. What's up? Do you got something for one of these people up here? I haven't looked into the historicity of the Buddha. I can only discuss what I've studied extensively or looked into. So I don't know about the Buddha yet.
Why do you say that Jesus didn't exist? I would like to know where you got that statement from.
Ain't no evidence. And when I looked into what the scholars are saying evidence, it doesn't hold up.
Okay, so what are you basing that off of? Because I am recently no longer a Christian, but I can see the value in the story.
You think
Are you black?
Of course.
You see the value in Christianity as a black person?
Whoa, I didn't say Christianity.
The story?
I'm saying that
The
like the
story is
story of
Christianity.
Jesus.
What are you talking about?
I thought that was common knowledge, but I guess not. My bad, wrong
Jesus
button.
can exist without you being like religious.
No,
That's
he
like
can't.
saying that's like denying Buddha exists without being
Buddha is not supernatural. Why do you keep saying that? Buddha's not a god.
Also, Jesus, his story begins with him being a descendant of
God.
Of niggas, God. This is God's son. His mother is said
A
to have
12-year-old virgin.
with who conceives the Son of God. That cannot be you, because if without him having a supernatural birth, who is his mother and his father? Where his brothers? Where his kids at? Where his kid? Because if we ain't talking about Jesus of the Bible, where this nigga's brothers? Where his kids? Where his people at? How do we know of him without that story in the Bible? Where do we get this dude from?
Also, if y'all ain't talking about Jesus of the Bible, nobody gives a fuck if he existed or not. I don't know why. Like,
yeah,
I can understand that. My thought process Christ consciousness. So
yeah, we don't see
Christ
Christ consciousness
with God without having a connection.
you're breaking up, please.
You started breaking up when you started talking about that bullshit, Christ consciousness.
Hello?
You started breaking up when you started talking about Christ consciousness. That's some bullshit. Black man can't do no Christ consciousness. You can't hear me?
Hello? I feel like we can align ourselves with God, and I believe that God is all around us.
You definitely listen. Whoa.
No,
whoa.
I wouldn't say I'm an atheist. I would say
I'm agnostic.
Buddhism
We know
and
that.
pantheism is where I reside.
Buddhism, boy.
And pantheism.
Them people don't give a fuck about us. What the fuck we Buddhists for? Fuck a Buddhist, nigga.
He's a philosopher.
Ain't no God. Ain't no God.
That's
God is made up.
Philosophy. What the fuck do y'all be talking about?
Bro, that's what I agree that there isn't a God.
You just said you
You
believe.
literally just said, but we can align
Buddha is not a
ourselves with
god.
God, and God is all around us. Did you not just fucking say that?
Buddha is not a god.
Did you not just say that?
Of course.
Of course. So what the fuck are you talking about? You don't believe in God.
Why I just
I don't
typed in?
believe that
I supposed to
God.
type in the Buddha. I done typed in God.
Well, I don't believe that God is as a man or a creator. I believe that as consciousness all around us.
No, God is a white man.
Well, that's derived from Christianity, which I don't believe in.
No, it's not.
No, he's a white man. He has an eye patch, and his son carries a big ass hammer.
I don't believe that God is a white man. I don't believe that God is a man at all.
Yeah, because you ain't talking about God.
Right, the Christian God.
No, God in general at all.
Why would I give God the title of a white man?
Why do you think you have the power to give God a title at all? We're talking about historically.
Man, fuck history and what they say
Sure,
about God.
I don't want to learn fuck history. What the fuck?
Lord, so you're showing something now. You asked me about Jesus, and then when we modulate, you said fuck history. This conversation is about history,
they say
brother.
that God is, and what they say that Jesus is.
If you don't care about the history of God,
Hey, I'm sorry. After fuck history, get the fuck down because I know you're fucking lying.
that nigga said fuck history. Gang, it's
Go ahead and get down. I got an 18-year-old. He like Fortnite. He probably on there right now. I'll send you his screen name. Go ahead. You got other shit to do because fuck history. Get down.
Nigga said God is consciousness. Lord Jesus, help the we believe the children are the future. Teach them well and let them.
I believe you need to
way.
get the fuck down because fuck history. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's all right.
I
bro.
I retract my.
Bye.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, how old are you, bro?
26. Can you hear
I'm
me?
assuming you sound like a Muslim.
Nope. I was a Christian. I'm still deconstructing.
Cool. Black people shouldn't be Christian because of colonialism and the transatlantic slave trade. They made it up and they used it to justify enslaving our people. So it's not real. It's made up. Go and look into the history of Zoroastrianism and how it affects the monotheistic religions of Abraham. Deconstruction to be 30 seconds long. I don't know where the fuck you go when you die. Nobody else does. Don't allow that to let you believe some bullshit. We're gonna keep on keeping on. Easy money. Let's do it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But I think I'm still trapped by the concept of hell.
Yeah, they made it up.
That's the
look up Dante's Inferno. They made it up. So what they did was they took aspects of Zoroastrianism and they because the earliest worship of Yahweh, there was no heaven and hell. The church, they would paint this fiery image. They would paint these fiery images on the walls of the churches in Europe to scare niggas. Not us, but to scare other white people. So you can't be scared of something that was designed to scare niggas. No. Look up Dante's Inferno. Look up Dante's Inferno. Look up the Latin Vulgate and the Luciferians that was arguing with Saint Jerome. It wasn't can't be no hell and no Lucifer. That's made up. Lucifer comes with Lucifer comes in the Latin Vulgate, and concepts of cosmic good versus cosmic evil, that comes out of Zoroastrianism. And then as you get into medieval Christianity, they begin to develop this fiery lake to scare niggas. It's not real.
You still believe in a spirit, Miles?
No, I don't believe in spirits or ghosts or I
perfect.
think
So what you scared of hell for?
Yeah, that's a good question.
What you think goes to hell? The spirit. If it don't exist, what you scared of hell for?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. So yeah, that's a fact. If I don't believe in spirits, why? Well, why would I be scared of hell? Yeah. So yeah, thank you. So I was also wanted to ask.
I heard just your brains and your eyes go to hell. That's what I heard.
Definitely.
Yeah, man. Do you know how many hells you got to be scared, bro? Do you ever heard of Valhalla?
No.
You better be scared of it, nigga.
So that's another hell.
Go. Valhalla is where the slain warriors go in Norse mythology. That's what you want to go to Valhalla?
No.
The Muslims got a hell too. You scared of their hell too?
Nope.
So.
Okay. I'll think about it. Thank you, man. Because yeah, I think I deconstructed, so I only had like fear of hell. So yeah, the fact that you made it clear, I think, yeah. Thank you very much.
Man, go get you something to eat, man. Watch you some good movies. Paint you a picture, even if you can't paint something. Like, it's more to life than hell. It's more to life than thinking about death. You see what I'm saying? You ever frolic?
Yeah.
You ever frolicked?
I have what?
Go frolic. Find you an empty field of cut grass and just run.
Yeah. Thank you, man. If that, yeah, I was indoctrinated.
Hey, make sure the grass cut though, because I don't you gonna run through. Listen, where you live at? That's a motherfucker. You can't. Hey man, you can't run into everybody. Boy, the grass, listen. You can't don't. Man, listen, man. It's some dangerous grass. Hey man, it's some dangerous grass out here. You gotta be careful when you. You gonna run. You gonna run some shit. You gonna come out with a bite mark on that. You ever had a oh my god, y'all. All right, lock in. All right, man, let's do it. Oh, we almost at 100K. Let's get the likes to 100K before I get off. I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna get on in the morning. You know, my regular scheduled program because. Breathe. Oh my god, that nigga is listen. Oh, I feel bad for y'all. Y'all wasn't. You had to be there to understand what that. Okay, let me lock in. All right, tap the screen to 100K real quick. Go on, finish. When we up with the gills, man, y'all support me right quick. We need 2 more hats. We need a couple more roses. Yeah, go and knock them out. Yeah, help me. Yeah, there's a snake in my boot. Go on in. Go on help my moderator out. Go on give my moderator, y'all, cause she got grandkids. And so, yeah, we appreciate y'all support, man. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all. Yeah, we appreciate you. Over on YouTube, tap the fucking screen. I'm saying, not tap the screen. Hit the thumbs up over there on YouTube. If you want to get in the Discord over on the YouTube channel, send me a message on Instagram, or if you got TikTok, well, if you had TikTok, you'd be on TikTok. My Instagram is in the description of all my videos and live streams. So if you're over on YouTube and you want to get in the Discord so you can put your eyes on that bibliography that I put together for it's like a 20 book bibliography. I'm gonna add some more to it. But if you want in on that bitch, send me a message on Instagram or DM me on TikTok if you got it. Yeah. So yeah. I'm gonna get you in the Discord, and then yeah. So get up in the Discord. I put together a 20 book bibliography that I like, some books I had read and shit that'll help you kind of like get a little caught up on what I'm talking about and shit. And so if you want access to that, it's just some books I read, some little shit, it's cool. We put it together, put it in Discord. And so my 5-hour live stream is in there. My conversation with B.A.S.H is in there. The 5-hour live stream is about transatlantic slave trade, trans-Saharan slave trade, and the stuff that's happened in the Americas after both. The conversation with B.A.S.H is like pretty much a synopsis of like Jesus and Paul. Really good live streams, like 2 hours long. Man, it'll catch you right on up. Also, the bibliography's in there. I'm working on some more stuff to do in there, but just roll with it. But before we get up out of here, man, tap the screen. We almost at 100K. We got 5 more likes. Hit the like button. Yeah. Shit. Oh, that was hilarious. Yeah, come on, one more hat for the road. Try to go ahead and knock that last one out. Yeah, put something in the oh. I got one fragment. There we go. Type shit. Yeah. So appreciate y'all contributions. At 96,000, almost at 100. Yeah, it was a nice little live here tonight. Oh shit. We can shoot them jumps. Shit. Appreciate it, gang. I'm yeah, I'm gonna text you, Spinks, so we can talk about that shit. Hell yeah. Weird. Yeah, come on, we almost there. 3,000 more. We almost at 100K. Shit, I'm sleepy as fuck. But man, over on YouTube, I appreciate y'all, gang. I'm gonna go ahead and end this motherfucker and let them get these likes. You tuned in over there, man. You new to the channel, subscribe. Yeah.